Come here, come here. Okay. Come, baby. It's gonna be fun, baby. Stay over here. What do you want? What do you want? Hold on. This shit's funny now. I gotta hurry because he actually says he's dropping the video. But I did 4 hours today. Chandler, you cannot accuse me of working with them. I bring my testimony. That's all. Just as I would like people to bring their testimony over here of what you've done to them, because I know there's victims out there. But check this out. This shit's funny as fuck. Hope this works. Earlier, the volume didn't work on something. Overall, that stream was good. I was a little triggered at one point, but got past it. Not too bad considering the bullshit I'm dealing with. I got to do a sound check on this because I want to make sure it sounds good. Baby Jane. The Baby Jane is Katie Chunkers. Put out something an hour. Katie's jealousy. And she has, or this person, I don't know what they are. Pictures of people. I don't know who all these people are, but they all have the blue, like, I'd call them X-ray eyes, which she puts on the picture of Chunkers. Chunkers is also under this video talking her schmackadoodle-doo that she loves to do. You're a sicko, man. You've proven you were the one that pushed that man over the edge because you're still chomping at my fucking heels, knowing my condition. You're a manipulative, psychopathic fucking piece of crapo. You couldn't get shit. Oh my God. My cat's been sick all day today. She may have to go back tomorrow. You people are disgusting. Anyway, let's look at this and try to have a fucking laugh. Listen how triggered he is. This is fucking awesome. Okay, let's see the woman that's so innocent. Look at her. Look at her comment. Crying victim. They stream all the time. Crying victim. No, I don't stream all the time. You're the one you're just the ultimate fucking projectionist. That's all the fuck you are. You're a disgusting fucking internet troll. That's all you've ever been, and you've been at it for quite some time when you're not popping out kids to assorted different men that I don't know. I don't care. Is that really you taking the hit off a bong while the baby's on your teat? Because if that's really you, you're all fucked up, man. Who the fuck does that shit? But anyway, let's move on. Let's watch this triggered snowflake. This is fun. Oh, but I got to get to this because I need to know if it sounds right. Okay, I got to, Raina, hold on one second. Let me just check my cat one more time. Well, I'll be checking the sound on another device and I'll be right back. Okay, sounds good. Raina? Okay? It's time to rest now. Just rest. It's okay. When your tummy settles, I'll give you some baby food. You don't need to eat right now. Just give me 1 second. This is priority. This is just going to be a quick little video. Sorry. Well, I guess it gives people a chance to kind of follow. It's going to be fast. Yeah, that's right. I'll keep streaming too. I'll be calling you out. I'm not participating. You're a suicide troll, and I'm just showing you for who you are. Swear to God, in my life, I have never seen a woman hitting a bong with a baby on her tit. That's the most fucking gross thing I've ever seen. The mother with a baby. I mean, there's gross other things, but who would fucking take a hit while nursing a baby? I just don't understand it. Is there do doctors say there's a medical benefit? Would a dispensary say, yeah, take a hit while you're actually nursing your kid? Be smoking that shit, which by the way, what if the hot ash went flying onto the baby's head? Right. So there's many reasons why this picture is quite disgusting. I don't know. Is that maybe that's not really you? Maybe they're just pretending that's you. But I can see why they might depict you that way because you are a slovenly horror show. I can't believe that fucking Penny Bunny thinks that you won't slit her fucking throat. But given the opportunity, you love fucking people over. You're recording everything. Doesn't she know you're recording everything? Hey Penny, don't you know that your best friend is recording every fucking thing you say? And probably taking screenshots of everything you've ever written down? Yeah, because you'll get yours one day from your very own best friend. And it's moments like that that people like me say, oh, thank you, Jesus. Hold on, let me just make sure things aren't like breaking out in my chat here. Ugh, I'm so sick of the headphones. I'm just sick of it. Sick of it. Okay, nobody's here. But I have to do something. My reaction to yeah, somebody dropped on the Penny. Oh, and Penny Bunny, I have nothing to listen, you fucking nightmare. What the fuck is wrong with you? Well, we know you're on drugs, okay? I mean, you've done you there is porn out there of you, darling. You know you were doing it with the cone. What is wrong with you? You think that nobody can see what you've done? You think that despite whatever he may have done, and I don't know, and I can't speak to that, and it should be handled by law enforcement, and how dare those people, if that was really so, how could they have allowed him to continue on going forward and hurting and harming many, many other children? This is, you see how this story doesn't make great sense. But in any case, just as Alex Belfield never stalked your children, threatened to slit your throat, on and on, I did not either. But I am in love with Alex, and we are communicating telepathically, and we have bonded over our love of stalking you, which we don't do, you fucking loser. All right, let's get to this. Oh, I have to do something. I have to do something, or I'm going to have big problems. So you got to give me a second here. Holy cow. Yeah, laughter. Gotta have the laughter. There wasn't a lot of laughter earlier. There was some. It wasn't completely devoid of laughter, but uh, oh my God. These people, like it's just ultimate projectionist shit, like all day, every fucking day with these lovely people. Lovely. Aisha, Lydium's lovely. Oh, Tamara's lovely. Aaron's lovely. Oh, oh, Zero, I like you. Hold on, I've got to switch the guinea pigs out. It's time for Snoopy to suckle. Okay, you go, little bunny. I don't remember your name because I really don't care. I only have you here because you're a gravy train for me. Now, do something useful. Go get me my pill bottle, would you? Thank you. And I'll give you a little more suckling if you get mommy's. Go drag mother's purse. Oh, just get the bottle out of the bag. You know where it is. I think I gave her too much of a posh accent for a second there. Don't want to do that 'cause she's not posh at all. Well, you tell me I'm posh. I'm posh. Yes, I am. What's wrong? So if I want to suckle a guinea pig, no one's being harmed. It helps the guinea pig. Why did you care? Holy shit. These are the moments I live for, though. These are the moments I live for and the moments that save my life. When I can get enough objectivity and just laugh my bum off over this stuff. It doesn't it it happens not often enough. That's all I'll say, but it does happen. I mean, I've seen some funny I've commented, so y'all know what I Lisa has to run around everywhere. Oh, look how she talked about Maddie. Look at her. She says she's a counselor, and she said that that woman's face is melting. Oh my god. Well, she doesn't even that's a complimentary voice for Lisa. Mhm. I can't do like a Jersey Shore low rent uh, accent. I got to work on that. Okay, that's done. Ugh, I've got classical music playing in the background. It's giving me a flipping headache. I love classical music, but my dad used to blast it, and he really ruined it on some level. But no, I mean, I've learned to really love it. But God, he used it as a tool to get me out of bed, and I didn't. My parents didn't. I wasn't sleeping because I was afraid my dad was going to kill my mother, and so then in the morning I couldn't get up for school. So my dad would blast classical music like at level 10. I'm not joking. He really had to make it loud because the stereo was downstairs and the bedrooms were upstairs. But we had like a stairwell with a landing and it was wood floors. And so the sound really would echo and the stereo was just close to the base of the stairs. Fuck. Yeah, he can't sleep through that. No, I don't really care how heavy a sleeper you are. If you have narcolepsy, perhaps. Okay, this is all good. Can I just get out of here now? Thank you. Okay. Now, again, I'll put it out there for these lovely individuals. Just stop talking about me and we can be done. But if you want to do this, I'm not gonna let you get away with it, period. And you won't see much of it maybe going on here. Every time Penny mentions my fucking name, I'm gonna go after her. You bet your ass I am. Because if that bitch can't keep me out of her fucking mouth, I'm gonna haunt her fucking subs over it. She's not gonna get away. You're not gonna get away with what you've done to me. Nasty bitches. All right, here we go.
Yes, the Boohoo Effect here.
Here, let's speed it up because this guy, I don't know if he'd do like a strike. You know, he might. He's underhanded. We know that. We know you're not on a level. That's sad when you fucking screw yourself over that way. I'm sorry that you did that to yourself. Maybe I need to play music in the background so that that's what Aaron does. That's why he's always doing the music and all that weird shit because that's how he beats getting struck. Okay, we'll pull up some classical. There's no copyright on classical music that's more than 100 years old. So we could do some Beethoven, we could do some Mozart, we could do some Tchaikovsky. We could do, I don't know, what you want? What you want? Huh? What you like? I like guinea pigs suckling on my breast. My name's Penny Bunny and I approve this message. This skanky bitch was asking a guy about his penis when he was in high school. You don't think that's a little weird? I do. What's wrong with you people? Not you guys. I was talking earlier, I wasn't talking to my chat. I'm talking to those weird people that are doing this shit. Okay, we got to pull up some music. What do I, or Vivaldi? Maybe do some Vivaldi, maybe. Do you like the Vivaldi? Do you know the Vivaldi, the Four Seasons? You like? I play for you, boho. They say that the music calm the savage beast. Maybe this helps you, because you are a beast. You're despicable. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're flip flop, like I said, more than those little fishies in Aaron Cox's boat. You friends with him now too? How'd you get around that when he was attacking you and then he's friends with your friend and he's wrenched by your friends? And how do you navigate around these things? Not well. For people watching you, you don't do so good. Yeah, just so you know. Okay. Let's get back over here. But I don't know if you guys can hear that. Oh, I have to get my other device. Let me check. Hold on a second. Ah, there it is. Thank you. All right. Oh, I don't even still on there. I'm already on there. Not only do I think it's weird, I think it's fucking gross. Is what I think it is. Then she wants to run around calling people pedophiles. I mean, just listen. The breed of people that I've seen on here. Now you can't hear the Vivaldi. Oh fuck it. Let's just get to it. I gotta go. I'm tired.
Yes, the Boo Effect here. Survivor Girl, still over there ranting, monitoring my page. Wow, that was quick.
Wait, we can't. We have to do it slower because it just doesn't. You want to be able to hear his tone. We'll stop it every couple seconds because they're probably planning to. He's got lard ass riding him like a bull to get him to strike me.
You just need that material, don't you, Survivor Girl? Because you have no real purpose on your channel other than to monitor and stalk other people's material and replay it on your channel, okay? With no permission. But
with no permission. Your friends do that all the time. Not only do they use people's clips without their permission, but they cut and paste shit to serve their agenda. Go on, Mr. Snowflake.
I guess it's commentary.
Don't get your panties in a twist.
Biased, harassive commentary, but not
biased, harassive. Well, it takes one to know one, I would say, young man.
Nonetheless. Now look, I stated I don't know who Lipstick is.
I don't know who Lipstick is. Well, I think he hates lipstick, is what I gather. Didn't he drop a video on this lipstick person? Why do I remember seeing something about this? This is fucking brilliant. Wait a second, I gotta check my messages because he actually is gonna be dropping a video. I don't know if he's going live or what. I don't see anything. But I don't even see his I don't even see the message. So I not sent to him? I don't know. Whatever. If I don't get it. Well, the problem is he has to take stuff down because they're trying to they just they try to silence people by slamming their channels, trying to take their channels down. That's what they did to me. You guys are real winners.
Okay?
Okay.
But I have read her comment, so I can derive a definitive point from that comment. Do you understand that? I don't need to know somebody personal, all right?
You don't need to know someone personally
to be able to respond appropriately,
appropriately, but I sometimes don't get the word out correctly. So, no, really not. I'm not really not getting down on you for
accordingly. Okay. Now you can rant about me for 8, 10 hours a day. I don't care. It's not going to intimidate me. You're not going to use lengthy, endless psychology against me to back me off. Now, my issue with e-beggars is finished.
Oh, you're okay with e-beggars now? Well, we know, we know why. We know. I know exactly why. Because you've got to have everybody on side for the sumo wrestler.
We're done. Okay, that chapter is done. We made amends. Okay, that's that. I'm not going to keep it going on and on and on.
Well, but you are keeping certain things going on and on and on. So, this is an interesting thing because I see this all the time. They like to make truces with certain people, but other people that just go out relentlessly for all of time. It's just unreal. You're a huge disappointment. I used to really, sorry to Tracy because I know it upset her, but I thought your imitations with the Roger thing were quite funny. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend Tracy. Please don't get mad at me. But I wasn't always against this guy. But when I saw them hanging out with Roughcomb, the suicide troll, Witchy Boo Boo, or whatever the fuck her name is, Mr. Boo Poo, the poo poo. all hanging fucking with this woman that he did it. This guy, what's up? What? Oh, I don't get it. You just, wow, you just I can't believe it. How you flip flop. You may be the biggest flip flopper I've ever seen, actually.
Now, it does make me very concerned
Mm,
why you would accept a person like Yaxley,
mm,
knowing his value system,
mm.
being a self proclaimed Nazi.
You're lying because he's never proclaimed himself a Nazi ever that I'm aware of. Now, did he make some comment behind the scenes that's questionable? Absolutely. But has he ever proclaimed to be a Nazi? No, and you can't make him a Nazi based on one comment either. That wouldn't get you an indictment a a conviction in a court of law. You do realize that, right? But go on. He says something really funny coming up right here.
That's disturbing. And you being a proud Jewish,
You're she's a proud, that ish. She's a proud it's no ish. Leave the ish. She's a proud JEW. Can't say it because your friends strike me for hate speech. She set me up with that whole, the thing that Nazis say. Yeah, because when I repeated it, that's what you guys got my channel struck for hate speech on, didn't you? Because no decent person would ever say that, right? Except you weren't there and you don't know the context. And I told you it was all to get him to the place to see the ridiculousness of their stance that all Jays should die. Okay? But go on. Let me hear that again because I just think it's so funny.
and you being a proud Jewish, that's pretty self condemning in my book. Okay. In my opinion.
In your opinion, in your book, what you do to your opinion in your book? Oh, he's stomping his little man feet with his fist, and there's like smoke coming out of his nose.
As you always like to claim.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, what I have an issue about and with is none of your business.
That is just so funny because you can tell he's so fucking triggered. It's funny shit.
Mind your own business.
He's telling her to mind her own. Excuse me, why don't you go look in the mirror and tell yourself to mind your own business? Because you're always minding everybody's business. And what I heard is, who's minding your business when you're minding everybody else's? Huh? I don't know about her. I don't watch her. Whatever. You're just attacking her because she's over there with them or your friend. It's so transparent.
If you want to make my business yours, then so be it. Okay. I will respond accordingly. Now, you do nothing all day. Your hobby and endeavor is to be online like a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
You are doing live streams every single day.
So what? She's got time on her hands. She wants to talk about what's going on. That's what she's doing. We know why you have a problem with her.
Just about. Okay.
You're a foot soldier. That's all you are. Totally expendable, as you know. What are you going to do when you get kicked again?
Okay. Ranting about this, ranting about that.
Ranting. Oh, but your girlfriend never rants. Is your girlfriend really happy and content? She sure doesn't act like it. But that was really, I had only watched that far. I was like, this is so fucking funny. I got to do a reaction video to this because he's such a dick. And then I saw her lovely comment.
And self-righteous and all these matters, you wouldn't be online as much as you are. Now, I can speak about whom I want at any time. Okay? It's none of your business. Now, if Lipstick's going to be accusing me of being stuck on Tiffany, soliciting her attention for her approval, then I'm going to respond to that. That's none of your business.
Oh, so that's what you're triggered about, the whole thing with Tiffany. But you know you're in the camp. They're pretending to be against her. They're not. How do you reckon that? This woman that you have such a bug up your ass about, which I understand because she's Tiffany's horrendous. But you're basically your friend's been in bed with her the whole time. You know that, right? Let me see if there's anyone in my chat. I may be done breaking you down. Hey yo. Yeah, I'd much rather talk to this person than to. Yeah, I was just doing. These are people that have been messing with me. So, because earlier I did this whole exposure thing, and I was very upset at one point, but 75, wasn't even 25%. It was a very brief moment where I was really fucking pissed off at this guy that's stalking me and harassing me. But it was overall, it was just, it's so time consuming when you have to show evidence of all this garbage that goes on. And it's just, it's horrendous. It's really horrendous what these people do. And these very people that are on me, this woman, Katie, I just told you about. So remember that, because if I end up dead, she's responsible. Okay? There you go, Katie. You gonna keep suicide trolling me? If something should happen to me because of your fucking abuse, I've just told everyone who has the majority of responsibility. That's you. So go dance around that. Okay? And I'm gonna talk to my friend. So love you. Okay, let me get my glasses because I can't see where shit. We spend just a couple minutes so that I can just ground myself. And I heard about the road leading to Big Sur being washed off. Oh God, that happened a few years ago, and these people were trapped. Oh my God, so hard for me to hear about that. It just breaks my heart. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Right. It's terrible. I think it was a couple miles from Big Sur. Fuck. That means I'm gonna have a very good friend of really my sister's, but oh my God, I don't have this plugged in. That could be affecting connection. She's lived there. She has lived in Big Sur. Okay, so she's probably 60 something, and her daughter was born in the 90s. So is her daughter in her 30s? All right. Oh God, that is frightening. But she lives up there. She's lived up there for a really, really long time. And I don't go on Facebook, but I'm gonna try to. I have to remember to get on there. Fuck, that's scary. It's so frightening. Plus, it's just sad because there's. It just is. Have you heard of all these like celebrities coming down with all these weird illnesses and shit? It's very weird. What's your take on that? I hate Facebook. This woman was accusing me of going on Facebook and raiding Facebook. I've never done that in my fucking life, and I never would. These people do this degenerate shit, and then they project it onto other people. It's just, it's just a shades of what's to come. This fucking, end of a civilized fucking society. And like I said, I paint that picture, and I think it's accurate to say that what you have is like, so just imagine you're sitting in a movie theater and it's just completely black, and as the light starts to illuminate on the screen, you are your point of vision is the cameras coming down an alleyway that's soaked with water, and you can feel it's very foreboding. It's it You don't feel good. You know there's something bad coming, just like in a horror movie, right? And then we come upon a scene of a gang of guys like Clockwork Orange style, coming descending upon a grandmother with a little cart where she's wheeling her groceries home. And she has no choice. She has to go out in this hell because she has no money to afford to have someone deliver. And here they come upon her, and she's on the ground, and all this shit's going down. And here's the people on the other side of the street that just keep walking. Are you okay with a reality like that? Because I'm not. And as I said, if I came upon somebody, and I've defended people on here, someone in that situation, I'd get, if I was on foot, I'd get in my car, whatever, up in my car, I'm on my phone. Not that the police are going to be any help, because this future we're looking at, they were never there for you anyway, but you're going to see for reals now. Go to Chicago and see that they're making all crime legal. Police aren't coming. Oh, somebody just stabbed your husband in the heart. Sorry, we're not here for you. They're not coming. Have you read about this? But this is what these fucking hooligans on YouTube, they're normalizing this shit and everybody's looking away. So that's what you're being normalized to. Just look away when someone's in trouble. Just look away when someone needs your help. Just look away. Just look away. Just look away. And it comes when you become desensitized to it here in the macro, in the micro, that's what's going to happen in the macro. That's how it works. And that's what this a lot of what this social media is about. It's about destroying people that want the fucking truth. Okay, let me get a drink and excuse my intensity, but I'm not sorry. People want to call me crazy. I'm a real fucking person with real emotions. I don't have to fit into a fucking box for anybody. Okay? If people don't like it, don't listen. I'm here for a fucking principle, for the fucking principle of the thing, that bullies should never win. And I've not seen anyone stand up to it as I have by myself. These fucking assholes, they're always trying to like tell me how ugly I am, how ugly I am, how ugly I am, and what a hag I am, and on and on and on. Fucking the torture, the trauma, it's disgusting. So I had to go out today, and I'm like, I don't want to have to fucking. Well, I can always put a hat on. I comb my hair and put a hat on. That's not a problem. But I don't want to have to put makeup on, and I have to go out. I have to be seen. Like I don't want to fucking deal with this shit. So I put some self tanner on my face. It wasn't. It's just it turns into a tan. It doesn't start off as one. But I was like, I'm looking a little pale. Let's put some self tanner on. So then I didn't put mascara or anything. I had put a little concealer under my eyes and I put some lipstick on and I went. So I go into the 7-Eleven type store and I'm asking the guy just about something, that I was purchasing. I don't really want to say. It's no big secret. These people take everything. And so it was like, if you buy one type, you would get $1 off each package because there was a $1 coupon. But the ones I wanted had no coupon. So I said to him, okay, well, if I bought that one of the ones I was going to get, but then one of those, can you let me open it so I can use the coupon at the purchase point? He goes, no, I can't let you do that. I said, oh, Okay, never mind. I'll just take the ones that I take, and I won't get any discount. That's fine. He says, "Listen, you are beautiful, and I would like to give you anything that you want. I just can't do that." It was so sweet, and I was bowled over because I just, I don't expect to hear that when I'm done up and shit. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just always shocked when I get that kind of reaction from somebody. And I left there and I was like, I don't know, could I date that guy? Yeah, yeah, he works at the 7-Eleven. He doesn't make much money, but as long as he's not on drugs, we might be able to make this work. Okay, wait a second. I got to get something. Hold on. I'm going outside. I don't know if you can stay. If you can't stay, you can't stay. I mean, people got to do what they got to do. That's fine. I accept it. I'm in complete acceptance. People will do whatever they got to do. So I'm a little concerned about Raina. Uh, she's not well right now. She threw up twice today. I'm very concerned, but I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow to take her to the vet. Very, very frightening when you aren't in the position to do things. God. It was actually chamber music playing. That was what my dad used to blast, was chamber music. I mean, he would blast other things too, but he was a big fan of the chamber music at 6 a.m. blast at 10 decibels or whatever the hell. Just the highest you could make it. That's how he'd play it. I wonder what my mother was doing at that time. Like, he's just blasting me out of bed, and I'm trying to remember, where the hell was my mother? My mother didn't do she look, my dad was kinda scary, okay? So my mom would stand up to him, but I mean, I'd have to say, and this is very hard for me to say because I love my father deeply, but I would say at one point my mother was in a domestic violence situation. She was. And women that are in those kinds of relationships, or people, even men, they get trapped in that shit. It's a vicious fucking cycle. It's so tragic. So I just feel sad. I used to be upset with my mother about it, but I worked through all that while she was still alive. So, I like talking about life. I like talking about real shit. I like being real. People fault me for whatever, how open I am, but I don't want to change who I am for the most part. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with most of who I am. That's true. Short of breath. It's not good. Then I was at the market. Now that I think of it, it's kind of like a god shot of sorts because the guy at the market, when I was going through, so let me just read what you wrote because I know I'm like going into my own stream of consciousness trip. And you're welcome to come up if you want. I think it was, yeah, sir. Thought about you. Thanks. Yes, I heard about the road also. Yep. Yeah. Arthur was still alive when that happened. It's like, it'll take a very long time to get that section of road back again. Is it the same part? But yeah, it took months and months. I had a client in treatment, and he was raised in Big Sur. He was a really cute man, and he was older. He was in his 40s. I'm not perving on a fucking guy. He um he got really massively hooked on painkillers. I watched this guy. It took him 2 weeks to kick whatever the fuck he was kicking, and it was fucking brutal. He couldn't sleep. People that are kicking drugs like that, they literally don't sleep for months. They can't get any sleep. It's so brutal. I've seen gnarly shit with addicts. Nothing like under a month will get it repaired. Oh no. Malibu, keep talking. Raina can get you a drink. Yeah, Raina. Yeah. Listening to Malibu debating about having to put makeup on just to go into town. Men will never understand this. Yeah. Let Raina do your running around. Stay and talk. Yeah, really. Okay, then let Raina talk instead if you won't take the mic. Call it the Raina Show with special guest Malibu. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. Playing crowd applause soundtrack. That's so cute. You can come up if you want to talk, but I don't like to do this because I don't want people to ever feel obligated. 'Cause it's not look, this you've known me a while. How long have you known me? Can you just put it in the chat? Because it's helpful for people to know that I have known people for extended periods of time on here, and they don't know me to be any of the things that are being said about me. This guy, he's another one. He said to me, he's never looked at anything you've ever said about me either. And I know we're going on three years knowing each other. So there. So there. And I think, well, I'm not gonna talk about it here. Anyway, uh, why did my phone just do that? Hold on. My phone's making weird shit. Like, I mean, really weird stuff. Hold on, I have to make sure it's tethered. Oh my goodness. Okay, I was gonna tell you about the guy in the market though. Um, so I was really hungry. I hadn't eaten all day. And on Wednesdays they have like $5 sushi. So I got one of those last week and it sucked. I had like a couple pieces and it was gross. And it's still in the fridge. It has to be thrown away. So I don't, for me, I have such problems with my appetite. So I'm looking like, oh, does any of this sound good? Like, God, a spicy tuna roll that used to be so good. It used to be so yummy. Like that sounds like something would be good. So I get it, and I took a couple bites. It was fine, and then I went back and I asked her to put the spicy mayo on it, but the spicy mayo was shit, and it ruined the whole thing. So when I roll up to the thing, it's kind of embarrassing, but I'm like, you know, I was trying this and it's just not very good. Hold on. Got it. He was like, "Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah. And why should you have something if you don't like it?" So it was nice because sometimes people can be idiots about shit like that. So he was saying, "Yeah, sushi, like sushi when you go to a sushi restaurant is really good, but like sushi like from here, he guess it's not very good at all." He was just really understanding, really sweet. Because I come from Vegas, and in Vegas we have these great sushi bars, and I was like, "Oh, you're from Vegas?" So there's a family there. It's one of the wealthiest families in Vegas, and my parents were really close with them. So I asked him. Not everybody knows the name of this store, but this guy knew. And I said, "Have you ever heard of?" And I said this, and he says, "Yeah, yeah, I've heard of them for sure." And I said, "Well, I kind of grew up with them because their parents were very close with mine in business, and their family actually made a lot of money with my family. He was like, "Oh, wow, that's so cool," it was just it's little God shots, when I don't know, they're just little moments that make life kind of, I think, sweet. Just when you run upon people in the world that are they don't it's actually becoming kind of rare. People that they're just not tripping or guard up and walls up and weirdness, and they're like just loving, decent people. So I'm from Los Angeles, which most people know. Think about LA, it's like people are really phony. I mean, I will admit that. Very a lot of superficial people. I mean, you can't say everybody, but there are, you know, it was a thing when I was in junior high, whatever, girls were dating guys that were driving cars and already, assessing like what kind of car a guy drives. I never looked at that at all. I never was with a guy because of money, ever, never. And most of the men I've been with, when I get with them, they don't got shit, but they're on their way, and they end up being extremely successful. So, yeah. But, like, my first real love, he was driving a Fiat, which we always used to laugh that it meant "Fix It Again, Tom" Fiat, and it was a convertible, but it had a soft top, and it was, like, torn. It was torn. Um I mean, he was driving a 7 Series BMW. He was very, very successful, owned a home and all that stuff. He died of from colon cancer that spread to his liver at 46 years old. He's been made fun of on here to hurt me. A man that died from cancer. It's pretty low, wouldn't you say? Um, when I met Ron, he was driving a Dodge Dart. Not like it wasn't as cool. These cars are very cool now. It wasn't as cool then that he had a Dodge Dart. It was still cool on some level, but when you're dealing with materialistic girls in Los Angeles, he would never have had a chance if I was materialistic. He wasn't he was, and the unfortunate thing is he's busted his ass his whole fucking life. And it's got really not much to show for it because that's what happens when you live in Los Angeles. This guy has been making six figures lately for a long time, and he doesn't own his own home. People make fun of me that I don't own my own home. You try making it in LA. Good luck. Welcome, my dear. How are you? Hope it's you and not a porn bomber. Say something, please.
Hey Malibu, how you doing?
Oh God, thank God it's you.
Well, I hope it's me. I'm wearing his underwear.
Do you know about porn bombing? Have you heard anything about it?
No, I've been doing other things
He
in
doesn't.
recent times.
See, that's the thing, you guys. There are people on here that they don't even they have no idea about the bullshit because they don't have time for it. Yeah, well, that's something that they do to sabotage people. They jump up on a panel and then they expose their privates.
Oh, believe I was on a panel with T. It was on his live, and I'm not sure. You may have been on the show yourself, but somebody came up on the panel. This was, a couple of years ago, and I caught him off guard, and so I tried to help out the situation just by saying, and we'll be right back after these commercial messages, right? And then he left. He tried to, get everything all back together. My job was, purely supportive role right there.
Yeah. Did you see it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was there. I mean, it was exactly as you described. I mean, this. If
definitely
you talk
there.
to T, I'm not sure. Ask T about it next time you talk to him.
Okay. Well, I think he's upset with me.
Why?
But
What happened? Okay, I'm not going to get into that here. That's not
well,
why.
I would tell you privately. I don't like to, because they take
Yeah,
everything and make a fucking video out of it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you know what I
Let's
mean?
not talk about that.
So,
I doubt. And by the way, I just to go back there. I doubt very much that T is mad at you. That's all I'm
okay.
going to say. He's a good guy. You know how he can. He's very forgiving.
Oh, I know. I know that about him.
So, I mean, how's Raina doing? You were saying that she's not doing very well.
Well, it's funny because right when you asked that, she just came up to me, and she looks okay. Are you
Hey,
feeling
Raina, how you
better?
doing?
Raina, Yo says hi.
Hey, I want to. No, I
Yo
want to
says
say hi.
hi.
I want to
Listen.
say hi to Raina.
Hold on,
You know
let me
what?
try.
Hopefully, this will cheer you up, Raina. Here we go. Listen.
Here, listen. Raina, come back. He's purring for you. Come back. Listen. Listen. She's loving it. Did you hear her? She's going rah, rah, rah.
There you go.
Say hi. Yeah, she got really sick. She got really sick earlier. And cats, we know they get hairballs because they lick their fur. She has a nervous habit and she's over licking herself. So, but here she is. Hi, baby. Say hi. I want to bring the mic so you can hear her. She's purring. Let's put it around her head. Say hi. Is that in your mouth? Sorry. Can you hear her purring?
No, I can't really.
Listen carefully.
Yeah, I heard that. I can hear her now. Unless that's you pretending to be Raina, I can hear that.
It's her. She's purring. She's very happy right now. Oh,
That sounds like a healthy purr though, Malibu. It doesn't
No,
sound
no,
like a purr that's.
she seems fine now. And that's the thing because earlier she threw up. But this may sound gross and trigger warning to anybody that has a weak stomach. So you have to actually, if they're throwing up, you got to make sure that there's a hairball in there because otherwise there could be something wrong. And there was So I was like, okay, well that makes sense. She'll probably be okay. And then she just threw up a little bit ago, like a lot, and it's just scary because it just is. You have to be okay. But what I get and this is a good tip for anybody with cats. Have baby food on hand because when they're too sick, a lot of the time they will eat the baby food, and you don't want, if they go without food too long, they will die.
Well, what do you
So,
mean by what type are you saying?
like turkey, the meat kind. So I don't give them beef, but I give them turkey or chicken, baby food. And it seems it's just easy to digest.
What
And
about Gerber like plum sauce?
Well, what I get the carrots or I get pumpkin and I mix it in. So you can I got organic carrots, baby food carrots the other day because just these foods they're lacking sometimes in things that if she were to kill something in nature, what?
Yeah, you're just trying to help her get out of that rut.
Maybe. Yeah, so she's okay, but she's always I'm gonna take her to the vet. It's just she's hungry all the time, and then she hasn't, but that was the first time she threw up in way over a week or maybe even 2. So
Hey, you know what? Cats are people too.
yeah, they are, and
Right.
and that is something they do. They do have a tendency to regurgitate because of this. They lick their own fur off. It's always going to present a throw up situation at some point because it actually is blocking. But I give them also coconut oil in their food, a little coconut oil, to keep their systems moving. But anyway, I hope she's okay. She's here. She's just fine. I mean, she's behaving just perfectly fine right now. She's
good.
Just all around my feet, purring and talking. She's fine. She's fine. Not going to eat yet. No. That's the thing. Right after, if an animal gets sick, you don't let it sit for a little bit before you feed them again. Like she has to wait a little bit. I'm gonna like give her some water with a syringe, and then I will give her some baby food. So that's what I do. You know,
Yeah.
it works. It works. They love it. They love the baby. The problem, I was talking about this yesterday. I don't know if you heard or whenever it was. The problem is like Raina always wants food. So I'm like, I want to feed her, but I don't want to overfeed her. I don't. It's like a quandary. So then, but the biggest problem is the other cat is fine. She's not asking for food. She's in the other room. She's sleeping. Everything's copacetic. She's not hungry at all. Not in the least, right? Here's Raina begging me to the point I'm like, okay, I'm going to give her some food. But I don't want to have to feed the other one because she doesn't need it. She's getting fat. She doesn't need it. So I'll give Raina some food. And I'm like, shh, be quiet. Don't let her know. She's going to come and she doesn't need it. And then I'll give Raina food. Okay, everything's cool. And then I look up. And the other cat's like sitting across the room, just staring at me. It's so funny. Like, yeah, you're not going to get away with feeding her and not giving me some food. I'm like, throw it down, bitch. It's just really funny what they do. So that's the highlight of my day. Is
Hey, you know what? Sounds like you're doing a good job.
yeah, you know,
You're a good cat mama.
I'm good with animals overall. I would like to have a dog, but it's just not doable right now. But eventually, yeah.
Yeah,
But I
you just
just
want to let them run, right?
yeah. I mean, because I don't have to work full time now. Like in the past, I would never have a dog because I worked full time, and you can't do that to dogs. They can't. I just don't believe in that. But if they have a way they can have a run or something like that to get out and I don't know. But cats, my cats don't go outside. I was accused of being an animal abuser because I don't let my animals outside because there's predators where I live, like coyotes. Like I was sitting outside the other night. A huge coyote goes walking by. Then I was sitting outside and a whole pack of javelina arrived right in front of me. These are very dangerous if they have young, especially, and they did. I'm like trying to get to my door. This huge thing is coming up to me, baring its teeth, literally, like kept on showing me its teeth. I go, listen, you, back off because I'm not doing anything to you. Go away. I'm not hurting you. Leave. It wouldn't leave. It kept on showing me its teeth. It was huge. I got in the house. I mean, these things, I've had friends, they've had a dog killed by one of these things. They're very, very dangerous.
Right.
So-
Yeah. And like you're saying, the coyotes, it don't take them long.
No,
Won't
I
take
mean,
them long at all.
what, to take out an animal?
Well, to grab Raina or the other one.
That's right. I was walking the other day. So all of a sudden, behind a fence, but coyotes can jump over 6 feet. I don't know if you know that. There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
special kind of fence you can use, but anyway. So these 3 little dogs, little white dogs, they look like Jack Russell types, Chihuahua mixes, whatever, are just at the gate because I'm walking by. And I'm thinking, there's no one around. I'm like, holy shit. I look at the gate. This gate is not even 6 feet tall. I'm thinking, oh, what do I do? I tried to, it had a gate. So I was looking for a thing like to press a button and tell them, do you know that your dogs are outside? Because right at this time, this is the most dangerous time. This is when the coyotes come out. It's right at dusk.
That's
And
right.
I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So I'm like going, hello, nothing. Can't find, I go, that's it. There's nothing I can do about this. There's nothing I can do. I have to walk away, which is very hard for me to do. So as I walk away, I keep looking back behind, looking over my shoulder and just like thinking, am I doing the right thing? And then I see somebody sitting behind the house. Once I got far enough away, I was like, thank God there's someone out there. But the point is, one coyote and that person is that far away, there's no way that the animal's gone. It's dead. You cannot have animals outside that are not on leashes in areas like I live in. It's dangerous. Whatever, that's how I feel about it. So I was walking again one night. It was dusk. I see two little kids like running around outside. I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? Like, people don't watch their kids. This is predator land. And these people had just moved from California, actually. So the little girl was about 4. The little boy was about not more than 7. I'm like, why are you guys out here? Oh, it's okay. And then this dog runs up. The dog's only 6 months old. I go, oh my God, and the dog's outside too? Oh, our dog is fine. Our dog is fine. If coyotes come, our dog is stronger than a coyote. I'm thinking, really? I wouldn't say it to the child because that's traumatizing, but a pack of coyotes and one dog, 6 months, I don't care how fierce you think that dog is. It's not strong enough to take on a pack of coyotes. So anyway, I walk away, I leave, whatever. I don't know if the parents came out. I think maybe the parents came out. So I leave. The next night I'm walking, it's not that late, and there's a lady and she's walking her dog, and I start talking to her. And I was saying, I saw these children out here, and she goes, oh my God, are you serious? And I go, yes. And they had a dog. She says, there's mountain lions. We have mountain lions here. Good to know. I don't understand how people don't know this. It's just tragedies that could be avoided. That's all. I don't get it. And by the way, a hawk can take a dog up to 25 pounds or something. Did you know that? So it's just, I wouldn't have my animals outside unattended. And if they were, they would be contained in a run that predators couldn't access. So I just believe in keeping animals safe, especially when there's predators. Or if you live in a busy city where there's traffic, you're going to let an animal just roam the street? People do that. I've never been able to do that. I don't have to worry about my animals being outside. Okay, who's this? Christos! Hi, Christos. This is my friend Christos. Yo, later him. This guy is a fucking trip.
How you doing, Christos?
I'm going to interview him. He has done DMT. I don't know if have you ever done DMT?
No.
Nor have I. But he just recently had a whole DMT trip and where he had these visions and all this really weird shit. And it just, oh my God, it's trippy. And so we're just going to talk about that and talk about just all kinds of different things. This guy is really interesting. He is a kind of sort of like, well, I can't say he's like you, but he is about bringing messages that are important for people to hear, whatever it is, whatever he's bringing. It's not the same as what you are, but he's just about that mission, just about bringing whatever he feels divinely inspired to bring. So I've known him and a group of his friends, and I've been spending a lot of time with them, and they're just very high level people in my view. I think they're mostly around the age of 40. I don't know how old he is, but around that age, and they're doing the deal. You know what I mean? They're out there trying to find solutions and talking to people about it and trying to create game plans for people in these times. It's quite impressive, I got to tell you. I can send you their information privately, but where I go, I don't let anybody know because I do not want to be attacked. I mean, I don't know if you saw this guy that attacked me on New Year's. I've been hanging for like 2 hours in his stream, just in the chat, just grooving with these people, talking about all kinds of stuff. One of the people on the panel was a First Nations woman that had a lot of interesting information. And this other guy, he's been on the internet. You may know his name. I'll just say because it doesn't matter. I don't really go there after getting attacked. Max Malone, he's kind of well known. And this guy jumps on his panel and just starts berating me and lying about me. This guy I was nothing but nice to.
That's terrible.
It's really
New Year's Eve also. I mean, that's
yeah. I mean,
I'm sorry to hear that, Malibu. I mean, last time I was on here, we were speaking about the time that I was away, and that included New Year's Eve. So I already told you all that spiel, but no, I had no idea.
Oh yeah, I've been viciously attacked, and it's just this guy. I was nothing but nice to him, and I didn't do anything to the guy. And Richard can attest that. I don't know if you know Richard, but
yeah. I mean, Richard's been on your live many times.
Yeah. So this guy's been attacking Richard as well. He's been saying that we're controlled opposition. That we're like just
guy who's had a bad year, maybe. I mean, come on.
Well, and then in the interim that he's been attacking us, he was diagnosed with cancer, I guess, which no one wishes that on anyone. But
Listen, what bad message has Richard ever cast? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah,
I mean, that's I'm sorry to hear that as well.
And then the people that troll me, I don't want to call them my trolls. I don't personalize them to me. These trolls, they called him a predatory pervert. She posts Malibu Sky and Richard are predatory perverts. Do you know me to be a pervert in any way, shape, or form? I mean, no. I think I flirted with you once in 3 years. Or I mean, I used to say things, and I meant those things because I just wanted you to feel good, to know that you had brought joy to my life and things like that. But overall, and maybe but I was never, you answer the question. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Have you ever felt that I was a predatory, perverted woman?
Malibu, let me just end it here by just saying that you're very well disciplined. You have these borders and parameters that you set within yourself that is and that it's based off of respect, number one, number two, and number three for the other individuals so that they feel comfortable in your presence. You go out of your way time and time and time again for anyone who enters your space. And that includes for me, and that includes every time that you've addressed me in any sort of fashion whatsoever. Never have you made me feel uncomfortable or disrespected. You've always been very welcoming, very traditional, in a very, very sort of upbringing sort of way. I mean, I can't speak enough about the way that you are good to me, and then the way you speak to me, and the way that you present yourself towards me.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. And I really appreciate that you're saying that. It means a lot to me. It means a lot. But lastly, I would want you to say, if I ever asked you to do anything for me, to go after people, to anything like that?
Have you asked me to do that?
Yeah.
Well, absolutely not.
Or any of you've known anybody that from that side that I've ever put myself upon and made people do things for me? Or
well, I can't speak for anybody else, but I mean, not to my knowledge, no. I mean,
you would have heard something.
We're busy doing other things. Like we're involved in a completely different aspect of life and everything. So
right, exactly.
We cross paths, through tea, and you and I, we just make it work. Like what we're doing right now, we're just crossing paths again, and I enjoy coming to see you. You're great. You're wonderful, and never have you. If anything, I could speak for other guys, perhaps in a sort of another sort of weird way, where I can see the many other guys wishing that you would be more forward, or and I'm not saying it's not me or whatever like that, but you're very well brought up in that sense, where you're very traditional. You've got your respectful boundaries put out, and that's.
And I respect people's boundaries as well, which I think you know that. I've
That's what I'm
not
saying.
inflicted myself upon you at all. So if you in 3 years, I think you would know by now. And that's it. We don't even know. There's no further discussion need to be had, except the reason why I bring it up is just because this fucking thing that happened with this man, and I had prayed for this man because he was having legal issues, and I prayed for him. And
This is back on New Year's Eve, you're saying, or
the guy he started attacking me a few
yeah,
weeks before New Year's Eve. But that particular person, where what happened was, he comes onto my stream, and I was showing where this woman who said that I threatened to slit her throat. Okay, this woman is saying I threatened to slit her throat. Okay, she's saying that I'm stalking her child. She's saying that I'm a pedophile. Okay, now when people push it that far with me, I am going to expose them. That's what I've done, and I will do it because it's wrong for people to do that to other human beings. I was nothing but a friend to her. And this is the odd thing, how many people that I was friends to, this woman, literally, I was starting a business because she has a rabbit rescue, to give her a steady stream of income, that I was going to give her 10% of at least 10% of any money I made off my artwork. Just give her the money. And now she's saying that I stalked her. All these things I just told you. So
what kind of like you said, a rabbit rescue, like real rabbits or humans dressed up as rabbits?
I guess real rabbits and guinea pigs. But many people believe she just uses that to get money. Many people believe she's an e-beggar and stuff like that, which, it certainly looks like that to some extent. But so anyway, I was showing some pretty crucial evidence, because her best friend is highly implicated in the suicide death of a man that was bullied to death on YouTube. Okay, so people don't understand why I'm doing it. It's not just for me. There's people that have died that they deserve justice, and also protection for others so that this doesn't happen to them. That's my point.
And how about Richard? I mean, has he been back since, or have you spoken since New Year's Eve, or is everything going okay there?
He's been busy. I haven't talked to him as much. I don't know really what's going on with him. I can't really comment. So anyway, well, he went under attack because of me. They kept tagging him, calling him all these fucking things, and that's what they do. They drive people away from me. That's what they've done. They've cleared out my chat several times. They took down my other channel. I don't know if you know that. They took it down just to silence me. That's why it happened. But in any case, so I'm presenting, and this guy is in the chat telling me, just like riding me, stop it, stop it, stop it. Nobody wants to hear this. I'm like, excuse me? And then he drops a comment. He drops a link to because he was wrenched. He drops a link to another chat. Is anybody that wants to hear some real truth, come over to this place. This channel's no fucking good, or some shit like that.
Oh, so this is New Year's Eve. I mean, this is
right,
crazy.
No, right before Christmas is when that happened. Merry Christmas to me.
It's a crazy time, like it's just a crazy time.
Oh my God. So all I did was
when mental illness just peaks out, it seems, and just, just goes crazy. It's just that
is true, though. It is true, because
it's like a full moon every day for 2 weeks during the holidays.
No, it's all the way from right before Thanksgiving all the way through New Year's. That's usually the family, the time where, well, even if it's not about family, because a lot of people, the holidays is tied up in a lot of emotional stuff with family. Right. But then next to that would be loneliness of people maybe
it's all tied in together. It's all related.
Yeah.
And then there's like, bitterness and anger and hatred and misunderstandings. And of course, words are a source of misunderstandings, right? And it's just, there's all these tie-ins, and where people are like, they have a short fuse, and anything will trigger people. So the holidays, geez.
Yeah,
And
but
then
I think
I
in
picked
these
that
times,
specifically. I mean, I told you I took off. I went into isolation to avoid all this stuff, and because it was a long year for me as well. I was booked solid a lot of times,
mhm.
going all over the place, and so I made sure I had to hit my retreat for a week.
You're so lucky you can do that.
Yeah.
God, I wish
Well,
I
I
could
mean,
do that.
I was busy though. I mean, I treated myself there. I had to get out. I had to get away.
Well, that's the thing, because people often don't realize that you need to practice self-care, and that's what you did. People lose sight of that. That's why people lose their health and everything. They become so consumed with work. A lot of times it's about work. It becomes all consuming. And I have to share this because you know who I am, and it's not to bring anybody down, but at the time of my parents' success, they were hugely successful, okay? Like massive. They were met for a small company, massively successful. As I've said and I've shown it before, I have the 1968 or 1969. Is it Esquire?
Yep.
I was looking for it, but anyway, I looked for the magazine and I found it, but I have it in storage. But I have many like copies of the article in the magazine. So Anthony Curtis was on the cover, and it was because he was portraying the Boston Strangler, so it was a promotional piece for that. But it also was his, I believe it was his 40th birthday, maybe. Yeah, that sounds right. And so the first paragraph of the story, or the first couple lines, said, and so sitting at his table were Sonny and Cher, and I don't know, somebody else, and an assortment of collegiate girls, so college girls, wearing their and my father's name, because that was the name of the line, dressed in their and the name of my parents' line. That was in the article. That has to tell you that it was an identifiable name, or it would not have been in the article. They wouldn't just mention something that wasn't recognizable, and they were very, very successful. But why was I bringing that up about their success? There's some point to it. Ugh, I hate
Well,
it.
I have no idea, but I mean, it was you're off to a good start by the sounds of it.
You got to let me listen back, because I hate when I lose my train of thought. And there is a point to that, and I want to complete my thought. I was talking about how successful they were,
Right. Yeah.
but in the end, they were bankrupted for several reasons. The IRS, which we know now that at that time, people were being tracked by the FBI and put on lists and harassed by the IRS to fuck them up. And that's what happened to my dad. My dad was literally the only person that we knew that was speaking out against the Vietnam War. And my dad had a fucking big mouth, which is kind of where I get that from. And I'm grateful that I have, my father's tenacity and moral high ground, very principled man, even though he had a rage issue at one point. It was very, very, very bad. But let me just give me 1 sec just to listen back, and if you don't mind.
Yeah, I know you were mentioning Esquire. You weren't sure.
Yeah, but it was right before that. There was a point to what I was saying.
Mentioning Esquire, you weren't
Okay,
sure.
sorry. Let me mute so you don't have to hear it. Unless you don't mind hearing it.
No, you mute if you want, you can mute, and I'll just take over. Let me just
take over, and
let me just
tell the
cue you
people.
right now by saying this, and we'll be right back after these commercial messages.
I think you missed your calling as a voiceover person. Hold on.
Yeah, so here we are, the Raina Show with special guest Malibu, Not Your Scapegoat or Whipping Girl, where she is re-listening right now to a part that happened about 38 seconds ago. She's still unclear as to where she stands in this part of the conversation. Hopefully she can track it and get back online so we can hear the rest of this story regarding her parents back in 1968 or 1969. Good years. And then after which, I hopefully will get a chance to completely change the direction of the conversation and give a update as to
I
what's going
remembered. I remembered. I remembered. I remembered. Okay. So, my father, God, I don't want to get emotional.
You got to listen back again.
No, I know what I was going to say. So, it's really hard to talk. It's still really hard. My dad died 20 years ago. It's still painful to talk about.
Yeah.
So, he was really, really sick. When he was working, he was 78 years old, and he had to work because he was basically bankrupted by the IRS. They never came back from that, really, although they did rally. Actually, they did build the business back, but it's just what it was done to the economy with the Reagan years, what that did to small businesses, manufacturers like my family, my parents. They were uniquely able to deliver a product that was top of the line, like haute couture, but in the American market, high fashion, with French seams and the whole. I mean, beautifully made shit. But they couldn't produce it because my dad also wanted to give people something really great for a really great price. He was just that way. So even though they were high end, it was considered expensive, but they always wanted to keep that thing so that it wasn't out of reach for. They wanted the average person to be able to acquire it. Is basically how they thought. So what happened was when my dad came, he was working. He was working for Amtrak as a train attendant at 78 years old, and he was with my sister, staying with her, and he had a huge lump on his neck. So they called me up and he told me, there's just like this huge lump on my neck. I knew immediately he had cancer. Of course, I didn't say anything, but I'm highly intuitive, and I knew it was cancer immediately, but I didn't say anything. And so then he went through, some tests, and that's what it was. So he went through this targeted pulse point type radiation. It was relatively new, not really new at the time, but it was taking the place of the standard radiation before that would destroy all kinds of cells around the thing. It was just willy-nilly the kind of destruction it would do. And this would go right on the point where the cancer was, on that lymph node or whatever was going on. So after, treatment for however many months, what it was, and he took maybe 10 months off total after he did the whole radiation thing, and then having a few months to recuperate, and went back to work. And he kept going back to work, and he was sick. And I kept telling him, you need to, when he called me, he goes, can you, I was in West LA, he was in Burbank, and he had to go to to the central the station in downtown LA, Union Station. So I go to drive him, and he's yellow. I'm like, what the fuck? This is how we spoke to each other. What the fuck are you doing, man? You're fucking sick. No, I'm not. I gotta go to work. I go, no. You cannot be working like this. No, I have to go to work. I have to go to work because he could not.
Like his skin was yellow.
Yes, because he was
shutting down.
He was dying. Yeah.
Yeah, his organs were shutting down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so he goes on that trip. He basically walked to Chicago because he never sat down. He wouldn't take a break. 18 fucking hours. He would not take a break. My dad had a work ethic that would make your head spin. And I would say to him, you can't do that. You have a compromised immune system. You have to take breaks. I can't do that. I do not do that. I do not take breaks. I'm like, you have to.
That'll tell you, I'll take a break when I die, where I'm dead.
That's kind of how he went. No, he was he had a very, very strong work ethic. The man had been working since he was a very young guy because of the depression destroyed his family. So anyway, he insists to go to work. He comes back. He tells me, I can barely walk to the toilet, and it wasn't far from his bedroom. I said, pack a bag, I'm coming to get you. You're going to the hospital. Yes. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I said, yes, you are. Pack a fucking bag, I'm coming to get you. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm coming right now. Bye. Go get him. Take him. He's rushed into surgery. The doctor comes to me, goes, your father is probably not going to make it. He's going to die.
Yeah, and that's why he didn't want to go to the hospital. He knew that was his last. He knew.
Yeah, but the thing was, he did not die. His lungs were completely filled with fluid. Even after this, whatever the emergency procedure they did, he was in that room and it was still draining this shit into this plastic thing that was pumping it out of his lungs.
Oh.
But anyway, the point of the story is that he's sitting there once he's able to talk, right? And he's talking to the nurse and telling her about this business that they built and what they had and Rolls Royces and all of, just talking about all these things that they had acquired, right? And the nurse says to him, oh, Mr. I'm not going to say the name. Oh, you did so much. You did. She was Filipino. I mean, I always do my accents. Oh, you did so much. You did so good. And I my back was to them at that moment, and everything went silent. And I stopped and I turned to look because I didn't know what was happening. And thank God, I mean, this is a God shot moment. Because when I turn and I see him look down, and oh my God, it's just... And he looks up and he says, I just wish I would have spent more time with my children.
Right.
And that's the thing people need to understand. That nothing's more important than love. Nothing's more important than, people. Nothing.
That's the trade-off, Malibu, isn't it? Is that traditional generation again with the father working to do anything he possibly can to make it, to support a family from, at a young age and carry it through. It's and then it repeats, you know what I'm saying? And quite often it repeats anyways with the children as well. It's like the, Cat Stevens song, right?
Well, that's not Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon. Is that what you're talking about?
Right. Yeah. But that,
that's not Cat Stevens. That's it's not Harry Nilsson. Harry Chapin.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes.
Right.
I got it without even looking in Google.
Oh, that's why you're good, Malibu. You're good.
Not bad. I get stumped once in a while. But yeah, so the thing is, there's many videos you can go look, and
listen, you can't make it. You can't work that style of work ethic like you're saying, and then you have all that time with your family. I mean, nothing.
No.
It doesn't make any sense. Something's got to give, right? I mean, that's a story of life, isn't it? It's hard, It's
yeah.
But you had to have believed your dad though when he said that to you.
Oh, he was talking to her, but I saw I tell you, so he's talking to her, and I remember, I think I was like standing to his right, and I was watching her, and he was telling her, and then I walked, and the door was behind her, and I don't know why I went in that direction, and then he stopped talking, and then everything was silent. It's like just the energy totally shifted in the room, and I turned around, like, because I didn't understand what was going on, and I caught him saying that, and I saw it on his face. And I saw that pain, that realization, and he's never said that ever,
Right. Yeah. I mean, a disciplined man would never ever admit that or say that out loud, up until his, last days, of course, because that's when he knew it was over. It was done.
Well, he did live 10 more months, so I took care of him every day. I did shifts for 10 months. I took a leave of absence.
It was never the same.
No. He was dying. He never came back.
He was never the same. Like you're saying, turning yellow.
Yeah, but here's a really cute story. So when he was in the hospital, he was there for quite some time because he was had to get well enough to undergo chemo, which of course makes, I think he did 2 or 3 rounds of chemo before we went home. But anyway, every day I would come to see him, every day. And I'd say to him, would you like a foot massage? I can massage your feet with some really nice, non-toxic lotion with lavender oil, and it'd be really nice. It's like, no, I don't need that. So then every day I would like, how about a foot massage? No. So finally he's like, okay, fine, give me a foot massage.
He's just not used to it, right?
What?
He's not used to it.
Yeah, and he had like fungus from the time of the war. He came back with this fungus under his toenails, and he never felt comfortable using anything on it. He never went to doctors. He didn't trust medicine. My dad was never went to doctors, nor did my mother. But anyway, no aspirin, no drug, nothing like that. Vitamins, yeah, supplements. So he says, okay, yeah. So I'm giving him the foot massage. And so the TV's behind my head, right? So I'm giving the foot massage. And I'm watching the TV while I'm giving the foot massage, right? And all of a sudden the TV shuts off. And I'm like, what happened? He goes, that's so you can concentrate on what you're doing.
So the guy who didn't want the foot massage all of a sudden want a better foot massage.
Exactly. It was so funny. I mean, I had actually my dad and I healed our relationship. We were best friends the last 10, 15 years. We had amazing moments where my dad, it was just this guy that was so fucking scary to me. And he was an abusive, raging lunatic. So that he was go fucking off, man. Would go off. He had little kids in the house. He would literally threaten to kill my mother. He had PTSD from the war. I'm telling you, this guy something was wrong with his brain. But he changed. He actually changed. He mellowed out over time. He was not always like that. He was an asshole to me, but he was not abusive to my mother endlessly. No, he loved her deeply until the moment he died. He wanted to be with my mom, They were married 48 years. But he took responsibility for some things, but it all was because, and I give complete and total credit to AA and the sick person's prayer, which says, although we may not like his problems and how it affects me, but the bottom line is he, like me, is sick. How can I grant him the same patience, love, and tolerance I would a sick friend? So because of that passage, that is what really healed our relationship. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Because what I started doing was like looking at my dad and just trying to understand his damage, why he was the way he was. And the more I put together the pieces of the story of his life and the persecution of his family in the Soviet Union and in Austria, because they were Jewish, and you're not allowed to even say that word on YouTube. Why is that? I'm not downing them. I have nothing against good people of any good religion. I happen to be half that. And this guy that's attacking me actually hates the Jays. So maybe that's part of the reason why he hates me, because I was born to a Christian woman. I'm not even considered Jewish by the state of Israel. But people on YouTube want me to be killed because I have Jew blood. I don't know if you knew that. That's another part of the harassment that I see.
No, I had no idea. I mean, I don't look at you in any form or shape that way, whatever.
It's really disgusting. But in any case, with my dad, he had some really heavy shit. His mother fled Russia at 15 by herself because her mother had died. The father, they lived in a Jewish ghetto. She watched Jews get their heads cut off in the street, pogroms with the Cossacks. She watched it as a little girl, watching people getting their heads chopped off just because they were Jewish. really despicable, horrible shit. And in any case, and his father has an equally horrendous fucking story. And they both came. I don't know who he came with, but she came alone through Ellis Island. I've seen the paperwork in the whole fucking 9 yards. 15 years old. She came by herself. She didn't have anyone. I guarantee you she was molested, raped. How could she have survived that time by herself? It makes no sense. But in any case, my dad was damaged from his childhood. His father was abusive, like what he became. My dad basically became very much like his own father, terrorizing everybody in the house. He told me my father would go through the entire house and break everything in the house. Can you imagine growing up like that? And it would happen over and over again. So when you start looking at the damage of a child in those circumstances, and if you can't have compassion, there's something wrong. And I had utmost compassion for this kid. And he told me a story of something his mother did at one point. And I said, that's child abuse. Because she's old country, the way they rear children, it was a different fucking thing at the turn of the 20th century. And he says, no, it wasn't. She was a saint. What are you saying? She was the best woman that ever lived on this earth. I go, oh, okay. I wouldn't shove it down his throat, but it was abuse. But that's all she knew. I mean, I can't tell you the story because I don't want people making shit out of my father's abuse of his childhood. But it's heavy, and that's what changed everything. And boundaries. So it took having compassion for the other person and trying to have patience, love, and tolerance. And then boundaries. I started telling him he couldn't grind on me. He would grind me on shit. Just grind me over. That's what he did my whole life. And so this is when I said to him, listen, you can't do this with me anymore. If you're going to do that, I'm going to leave. And he kept going. I go, well, I'm leaving now, right? He kept going. Okay, bye. I'm going. He wasn't berating me. He was grinding me all the way down the driveway, walking me into my car, barking at me. He was just grinding me about whatever he was grinding on. Okay. And I'm like, okay, Dad. I didn't get mad or anything. I was like, see you later. Left. Next time, started again. I think I said I'm going to leave. He stopped, and he never did it again. That's pretty remarkable. He turned it around. You know why? Because he wanted to spend time with me. Because he fucking dug me. He liked me better than anyone else in the family. His sister said, she's the only sane person in your family, right? As crazy as people think I am. My aunt, who was she went back to school at 50 and had a doctorate in psychology, was a therapist. And she said, yeah, you're the only sane person in your family. Kind of funny. But
that's something to look forward to anyways, right?
What?
That's something to look forward to.
What, being the only sane person in your family?
Right, yeah.
Well, it's kind of a drag when people can't get it together, in desperate times and realize that. I mean, if you can make it work with your family, you should. If you can't, you can't. I mean, I'm not saying everybody can, but if you can, I think it would be a good idea to do so. And it's unfortunate because my sister, who became homeless, I took her in, and trust me, she had no right to even speak to me the way she treated me. And my friend Ron testified. I interviewed my closest friend. I've known him for 38 years. He was my boyfriend when we met. He's a bit older than I. And I asked him, what about my sister? He's known. He goes, He's told me, stay away from her. She will not do nothing but harm you. He's known her he's known me like all my whole life. Come on. He's like, I don't know why you would ever take her in with the shit that she's done. I mean, your sister is she's just gone. You should listen to that interview. It's really interesting. He knows me really well. He spent time with my family. He spent Thanksgivings with us. I've spent time with him. We've known each other a long time. We know each other's families and everything. He has his mother still. His mother is 95 or 98 years old. She's still alive. I called him. He goes, my mom's calling. I got to call you back. I'm like, what? I love that. I'm so happy for people that still have their parents, because it's such a gift. If you can have your, just love them as much as you can. And tell them you love them, and tell them as much as you can, because they're not going to be here all the time. And you want to know that you let them know how much you love them while they're still here. It's really important. And that's what my dad had an opportunity to do with me, because he always, when my dad, I was working at HBO, I was 38 years old, and had gone through the breakup of a relationship that had really gutted me. And my dad was loaning me $100 a month for food money, because I was working full time. I was making $18 an hour back. That was a nice. Listen, I loved that job. I was freelance. I got to work every day, but I floated around. I got to work in every department. Like, it was a blast. I had a great time. But anyway, I was struggling. I was in massive depression after the end of this relationship. But my dad would come. He would come to give me the money, right? And he would vibe me out. Like, he would come in. He wouldn't look at me. He would be frowning. He had this vein that would poke out of his forehead. And he'd like come up and he'd go, here you go. And he'd throw the money at me. He was such an asshole. And then one time he goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? You got beauty, you got brains. Why aren't you the CEO of a fucking company by now? What the fuck is wrong with you? And what went through my head was, if you hadn't fucked me up when I was a fucking kid, maybe I would have been able to achieve those things by now. But I didn't say it, and I'm glad I never did. I didn't beat him over the head with that. I didn't punish him for it. And I'm so grateful I never punished my father or my mother. My mother, I had moments because it came to me, in my mid-30s, that there was all this anger I had towards my mother that I didn't even know I had, because she didn't protect me. She allowed this man to do this shit. And look, I'm not her, but I would want to say that if I was with a man and he was treating my child that way, I'd say, you better fucking get your ass in line or I'm taking my kids. Okay. But he was threatening to kill her at points. So she was afraid, probably. I don't know. That's probably why she put up with it. You gotta think about it. If you know about any domestic violence, that's probably why. But I was angry at her, and that came out. It was coming out, But then when her health started declining, which was pretty quickly around that time, I was like, there's no solving this, because she's not the same person anymore, and she can't take responsibility for what happened. So there's no reason to berate her, or even it's not the same person anymore. Like, I never berated my mother for anything. I let it be. You should have seen the way she was ornery as fuck. Here's one of my favorite stories. I come in because I was one of the primary caregivers. We needed 24 hours. My mother was an invalid in a diaper, losing her mind. So I come in. She goes, "Hey, I need you to get me out of bed." She was in a hospital bed. I need you to get me out of bed. I got to show you something. Oh no, that was the time. No. The time when I was insisting she got up to walk, because she was going to become an invalid, and she didn't want to walk. She thought her legs were broken. She broke her hip. She's all fucked up after this. It was a nightmare. So, but this one time
send her to the bingo hall,
what?
Just send her to the bingo hall.
She couldn't do. She wasn't going to the bingo hall. She couldn't. She was really fucked up. she goes, I have to get me out of bed. Take me over there. I got to show you something. I was like, oh, okay. So she wasn't all that anxious to get out of bed after she broke her hip and all this crap. So she wants to get out of the bed. So I'm excited about this because I don't want this woman to become an invalid. So, all right, come on, let's go. So she got a walker, the whole thing. I go over to her. She goes, oh, that's funny. It's not there anymore. I go, what are you talking about? She goes, you know that guy that just died? I'm like, Michael Jackson? She goes, yeah. He was in this flower pot last night. I was like, what did he say? I can't tell you that. She made me take her there to show me that Michael Jackson was in the flower pot, but then she couldn't tell me what they had discussed. It was just funny. I mean, you have to laugh at this shit. One time I was, Mom, get up. No, I don't want you. My legs are broken. Mom, please. Your legs are not broken. Get up. You have to walk or you're going to, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it, Mom. You got to get up. She was pissed the whole time. So I get her up and so she's on the thing. And all I was making her do was like walk, 20 feet there and back. That's all I wanted from her. So we're on our way back to the bed. And she turns to me, she goes, you are such a fucking bitch. I go, wow. Why is that? Why am I such a bitch? It's your father's fault. I just think that's fucking classic. Your father's fault. I go, okay, that makes perfect sense actually. So thank you.
Does anybody take, account for that? Or it's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah. But this woman, when she literally tried to punch somebody in the face when she was in the rehab once. When she got him, and yeah, it was not. That's why I wanted her in her home. My siblings were fighting me because I said I was in charge of her. I was power of attorney. I was I had all the whatever the, all those things that somebody has to take care of a person in this position. So she chose me because her other children did not show up for her. And they were fighting me because they wanted her in a nursing home. I said, I'm not putting this woman in a cut rate nursing home where she could end up being raped by a fucking orderly. I'm going to keep her in her house, hopefully till her last breath, because that's what she would want, and I'm here to fulfill her wishes. And this is not our money, it's her money. She worked for this money. It's going to take care of her so that she doesn't end up in a cut rate fucking nursing home. And that's why they were angry at me, because I would not put her in a nursing home. I refused. I didn't care if I walked away with not one fucking penny. I wanted her to have a quality of life while she was still alive. And I knew she had none if she was not in her home, because she lost all sense of reality when she wasn't in her home. She didn't know where she was. Even when she was in her home, sometimes she didn't know. She was like, "What? That's a nice picture you have right there." I said, "That's Mom. That's yours. This is your house." No, this is your house. No, Mom. This is your house. This is all your stuff. And I showed her everything. And oh. But the only peace she had was in her being in her own home, and she still didn't know where everything all the time, But when you take a person like that out of the environment that they have familiarity with, people that are going to dementia, Alzheimer's, you push them further into this state of complete confusion. So I would not do that to her. And I'm very happy. I don't know why I've been punished, because I did what God wants. I honored my mother and father. I took care of them. I did everything for those people. I wouldn't change not 1 minute. I would never not show up for them, even knowing what I know, how devastating it was to watch. Because, people will say, because my sister didn't show up, she didn't even come when my mother was dying. She hadn't seen her in a year. She was 30 minutes away. And I called her. I left her a message. I said, she's going to die within 3 days. This is what Dad looked like. If you want to talk to her, you better come. She couldn't even pick up the fucking phone to call me. And I did not, I stayed by my mother's side for 3 days straight. I slept on the floor. Now I wish I would have actually, the bed was too small. I couldn't have gotten in there with her. It would have been very uncomfortable for her. But I slept right by the bed from the minute I knew she was going to die until she died. And you want to be there for your loved ones. If you can do it, do it. And it's very heavy to watch somebody die, but the alternative is far worse. I mean, I'm so glad that, look, even when someone is out, like she was in a coma, I call it a pain-induced coma. She was still present. She was still alive. She was not dead yet. So I was still talking to her. I was still there telling her I loved her. I was still kissing her, holding her hand. I was there. She knew she was not alone. She did not die alone. And that's a really important thing. I don't think people should die alone. But they say we don't die alone, actually. They say that your loved ones that have passed on, they come. I'm sorry this is kind of heavy. Forgive me.
No, I mean, listen, I mean, you're a good conversationalist. You're just, it's a long story. I mean, what do you want me to say? I'm listening, right?
Yeah.
Raina right now is probably passed out, feet up in the air, and just like
no, she's
hearing this story. But I mean, I'm listening.
No, she's not. She's here again, walking around talking to me. You're
Yeah.
not eating it. She can't eat it. She has to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, this is what happens because when the people that mean the most to you leave the earth, it impacts your life. I mean, you just lost your grandmother, right? Or grandfather.
My grandfather last year, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
year and a half now, yeah.
But I mean, so what is your, if you don't mind me asking, because if you don't want to talk about it, please don't, because some people they're not comfortable. But so it's been a year and a half. How would you say your grief? What's happened with your level of grief?
Well, I mean, it wasn't, I was kind of close to my grandfather, but I mean, it wasn't anything. He was going to be turning 105. So I mean, he literally just died of old age. So
Mhm.
I mean, he taught me a lot since birth. Basically, I saw him as much as I possibly could. Most of my life, I never really lived all that close to him, but I would see him as much as I possibly could, and thought about him every day, as I do, all my family.
Mhm.
Like a lot of men, we don't spend our time on the phones.
Yeah.
But we think about the people that impact our lives deeply without having to use a phone, and we do it just by thought. And I know certainly for me, that's how it is. So my grandfather was no different. Thought about him every day, and he taught me a hell of a lot. So I mean, after his passing, I had a lot of good things to think about.
So the experience is a little different, maybe because 105 that's something that very few people make.
104, yeah, but he was going to turn 105.
Yeah, well, that's basically in his 105th year, because you're in your 106th year once you pass the 105th, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, he was an alcoholic. He reshingled his own roof at 93.
What?
Yeah, I mean, the local villagers were giving everybody crap within the family. The upper layers, because I'm the grandchild, so like on my mother's side and all the brothers and sisters, which are my aunt and uncles. But it's it's just like we're trying to explain to the people is that he's trying to teach us something. I mean, he's always got to be working, he's always got to be moving, he's always got to be doing something. So he's teaching us that if you're going to be around for a while, you're gonna have to be moving around and working, and that was his ethic.
Well, that's a great thing to teach.
You never left the farm after the war, right?
Aw. So
But my grandmother's doing okay. She's
so your grandmother is. So how old is your grandmother?
She'll be turning 98.
Wow, you got long life genes in your family, huh?
Yeah, I swore, and I was kind of saying this on the down low that because they were married 74 years, that um, and he married late. So it was the war, right? It was the war. The second they got back from the war,
Yeah.
they married. So, but um, where was I going with this now?
Well, about grandma, you were telling about grandma. She's 98. They were
Yeah.
together all that time. How is she doing with this passing? Is that
Well, I would say on the down low that she was not going to be more than 6 months, because I've always heard this story, and I've had this inner belief that if you're married for that long, you're truly in love, whatever, that somehow the other half dies
Yep.
shortly afterwards.
That's what happened to my grandparents.
And I would hear this over and over throughout over time, and but I'm not seeing that actually. And she looks really good. She's feeling good. She's good
Wow.
responses and everything like that. So all the power to her, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome, actually, because that's what he would want. He would want her to be doing well, not mourning. And
Yeah,
he lived a long life. I mean, he did. He's fortunate. He did.
yeah,
live
it's
a
just
long
weird
life.
to think that life without someone that you've been around your whole life. I mean, you would expect that other flower to die, but
Yeah,
I'm just not seeing that actually.
I think that's really interesting. Yeah, with my grandparents, they were married maybe 60 years. My grandmother passed away. My grandfather died like within not more than a year. He died as well. He couldn't live without her. I mean, he didn't know how to survive without her. It's really, really sad.
Yeah.
He was actually I don't think that he even made 70, my grandfather. But my grandmother's mother and father lived to be quite old. They did.
Yeah.
So we do have some on one side of the family. Well, but in my immediate family, both my parents lived to be in their 80s. I mean, that's kind of average now, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we should be able to maintain good health longer than that.
Well, up
I mean,
until 2020, that human life, both men and women, were living longer and healthier than ever before. It wasn't that long ago that a 30-year-old man looked like 60. And then they weren't really expected to live beyond 40. And I'm, so you're going. I say not that long ago, but my years are really stretching out there compared to maybe you or others that are listening, perhaps. But in the grand scheme of thing, in the time and space, we're not that long ago. We were not living very long ages. And I'm not saying that other civilizations weren't living long years, because that's very well possible. And there is some evidence of that too, but I'm strictly talking about this civilization, right? So, but I have a funny feeling that 2020 was a sort of put to a stop and a halt as to where we're going as far as the working class living longer and healthier than before. I think that's what we're seeing.
Well, yeah, and I wish we could really dive into that. Well, it's late anyway, but the censorship. I mean, really, people really, really should be up in arms about the fucking censorship. What they do on this platform. It's not. See, this is the problem when we don't unite and say, no, you cannot impede our First Amendment fucking right. Because like when this shit was going down, whatever shit's been going down since I arrived here in 2018. I'd never been on YouTube before. I was watching YouTube, but I was never on a live stream. But somebody says that you have no constitutional rights when you're on YouTube. And I said, well, hold up a minute here. Because this is an American-based company that made most of its money off of Americans to begin with. And why shouldn't they abide by the Constitution of the United States? I don't agree with that. Why should these fucking corporations be cut a pass to do whatever the fuck they want? And this is the problem because too many of us have let this shit go on for too long.
Right. And the quick answer to that, Malibu, is that power will take what it wants when it wants. It doesn't matter if it's guns, your gold, your food, your land, and life itself.
That's
It
right.
will take it when it wants to.
That's right.
And that's an unfortunate fact.
It's fucked up fact. Sorry for my language, but that's
Absolutely. But
yeah.
history shows this is what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's, yeah. We're gonna start. I think it'll be. I don't know. I don't want to. Just obviously, everybody knows that things are going to get very, very, very difficult this year. It will happen because they have created a food shortage, and that's what's coming.
Yeah, all manufactured, and of course, you know, the upper part of the hierarchical construct always seems to get away unscathed and unscratched, right? The royal families and their friends and affiliates. And who suffers is the very bottom of that construct, and that's the working class people who are the very bottom of the food chain in this sort of psychopathic way of life, I guess you can say. I don't believe that in 2023 human beings should be claimed or ruled or extorted or enslaved.
Nor do I.
Through vote or royal birthright. You know.
Well, I saw a picture of Zelensky's wife because she was going to be attending Davos, and I thought of you. I did.
Well, that's going on right now here. You see, like tomorrow is a very busy day.
Wait, isn't this the 16th? People were predicting some shit was going to go down. What's the date today? It's the 17th. Well, between the
17th, it depends where you are. Like Davos right now, it's the 18th.
Right. Well, between
so it's busy. It's busy today. It's busy tomorrow. There's a lot going on in a few hours' time.
Didn't it launch yesterday though, or 2 days ago?
Well, originally, I mean, it starts off on Monday. Typically, what happens with Davos meetings, it's the annual ones that are always held in January, with one exception, and that it happened to be in 2021, only because there was a fraudulent event that was being broadcast worldwide, or system-wide, as they call it. And then they had to push it through Singapore that year. But as to where it is traditionally is in Davos in January, and that's the annual meetings. Right. And typically Monday, or the first day, is a very short day for them. It's going to be typically Klaus's wife, who is the co-founder of the World Economic Forum. And she will present crystal award to a select group of people that will sponsor, their narratives, basically. And then, a couple other photo ops. And then the big day will be the Tuesdays, which is, like today, yesterday, depending on where you are in the world. And then that's a full day's booking. We saw all sorts of things going on. And then today there's all sorts of events going on in a few hours' time where, Gavi and Moderna will be given their state of address. Cybersecurity will be big. They'll be talking about Black Swan events. They'll be barfing the electric decade. UN Secretary General is going to have his address with old Santa Claus Schwabsky. Even his daughter afterwards is going to be taking the stage, and she's going to present her view on the earth. You can't make this stuff up. And then after that, they're going to have 100 nations, which will be celebrated as they are beginning their CBDC first generation. It's just, they're speaking on the metaverse. They're going to have Victor Zhao going on today talking about how people's mental health is actually being caused by climate change.
Oh, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it gets even worse because Al Gore is going to take the stage, teamed up duo with Yo-Yo Ma, of all people, who is a cellist.
Oh, I know Yo-Yo Ma, of course.
He was a cellist, and Al Gore and Yo-Yo Ma will take the stage, and they're going to reveal their plan to save us from global, you can't make this stuff up. Global food, global climate, and global health catastrophes in the age of the new normal. So, I mean, this might actually take the Yo Laser Beam Fluff Bag Award as absolute worst speech of the entire week. It's definitely up there. They're a candidate, right? So, they got the German chancellor that's going to be fluff bagging it up with Klaus later on. They're going to be presenting universal basic income on a global stage. They're going to start to present that. They'll be talking about COP28, which is the conference of parties or nations, if you will. That's going to be coming up a little bit later on. It's more climate change law that they're going to be forwarding onto the audience. And they're going to be talking about biotech in your food, where, of course, all you've been hearing about in the last couple of years was biotech involved in other sorts of ways that they're taking you jabs and so on and so forth. But now they're going to be introducing more biotech food, right? And they'll be talking today about the new regulations for online use in terms of protecting their interests. So we'll be seeing more, and they're going to be pushing this onto nations as to policy. They'll be speaking today about AI and climate change and how they're going to be using AI to use modeling to save us from climate change, which, again, you can't make this crap up. So it's going to be a full and busy day.
Oh, now this stuff is behind closed doors mostly, right?
Well, I mean, they've got 5,000-6,000 troops surrounding the area. They've got this place right down. Yeah, absolutely. Right now they're just finishing up some of their fluff bag parties where they probably had Klaus with a rainbow tassel butt plug strapped to a metal frame bed, with leather tassels attached to his nipples, with like Ursula von der Leyen with the booster cables ready to attach to his nipples. It's just with whipped cream and naked, swimming in a bowl of Jello with Greta Thunberg. This is what this is all about. I mean, they're protecting this. Davos is the Epstein Island of psychopath policymakers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they force nations to simultaneously behave. This is what we're seeing.
Hey, did you ever read the book Diary of an Economic Hitman?
No.
Fucking amazing. You should get that if you can. It's a guy that like in the 60s and 70s, they would strong arm countries if they didn't do, you're going to do it our way, or we're going to come and take you out. And
now it's done a little bit differently. See, I mean, those are older generations. This is done in a different sort of way. What we're seeing, everything is being centralized, and this is the whole takeover. They're going to try and hold the same type of pyramidal construct, having the working class occupy the very bottom, and the most people that are representing, and then the working class have to inflate them, right? And so that's not going to change very much. But instead of having it nation to nation to nation to nation to nation, everything's going to be pooled centrally, headquartered out of Switzerland.
Oh, the Swissies.
Well, that's where all the policy. You look at Geneva, for example. A lot of these headquarters, that's where everything's being centralized.
Hey, do you know that in the Bible that it says the seat of Satan is actually in Switzerland? That's where they figured out the location of it.
Well, I mean, listen, the Davos right now is the devil's lair.
Yes.
It's literally the devil's lair.
Fuck, I wish I could remember. I was just reading that about the...
And people missed out on Epstein's Island. If you can only imagine, people that were catching on way too late, far too late about Epstein and the island and everything like that. Well, now you have a perfect opportunity to look at Davos, it's in a similar light again, because this is the Epstein Island of psychopath policymakers, where they force nations to do what they want because they've already inserted the leaders that they want, and then they fool the audience and say, well, they got elected in, or so on and so forth. But behaviorism, behaviorism explains pretty much everything. And if you're seeing everybody and all leaders, repeating the same slogans, we know what's going on. It's a global coup. It's literally a global coup, and they're trying to make it look as seamless as possible by having all their staged, and some are in non-elected positions to make everything go as well. Certainly in the health sector.
Oh my god! Never watched the news. I mean, what's the temperature on the whole the next pandemic issue?
The temperature in Davos right now?
No, I'm saying what's in the news about the disease upticks. What's going on with the, vacations? People being told to get more vacations, and I don't know what's going on. I don't watch the news.
Well, I mean, I don't know what they're saying, but I can tell you that this week they're going to extend FIIC for the Cerveza bug based off of fraudulent data, and that will never ever be released in the news.
Right. So that's going to get extended. You've been saying that for a while that it was.
Right. It keeps getting extended because FIIC can only be held in place legally for 3 month durations, if you will, segments. And so it'll get extended this week, and it'll be prorated to the end of January, which they'll have another meeting in Geneva in late or mid-April. And then they'll extend it again. But in between then, Biden will extend the national state of emergency for Cerveza bug, which covers under Proclamation 9994. And again, based off fraudulent data.
It's just unbelievable how
because they need people don't understand that it's actually like climate change. It's just an industry being created to extort wealthy nations and extort them and extort them and extort them. And instead of pooling the money at a national federal level, it gets pooled internationally back to the same old group of criminals as recipients. And again, out of Switzerland. And at the same time, what happens when you start taking billions and trillions of dollars out? I mean, you manufacture inflation. There's a domino effect that takes place. The audience is told by the mainstream media that it's this, this is the cause, this is the cause, or this is the reason. The truth is, it's got nothing to do with that. It's just not the case. Everything is a rich man's trick. Everything.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we know that the whole decade is scripted for destabilization operations. I mean, you could squeeze more than what we've seen since 2020 to where we are now, but not a hell of a lot more. They're doing their job and their due diligence to upset all wealthy nations and the developing nations and so on and so forth. Well, who cares about them? They're already desperate and they're already suffering. That's always what they always knew in recent times. So whatever they fall, so be it. But the main menu are wealthy nations to put them in a state of manufactured recovery because they're overdeveloped. And so the controllers can't make as much money off of the overdeveloped nations. So they have to put them in a state of recovery, start all over again, give themselves relevance. And then you can open up, their backs aren't so much against the wall. And that's a fundamental aspect of the Great Reset.
Right.
Give these evil psychopaths more room to be relevant, more room to develop the people, industry, resources sectors, while implementing a new empire of rules and regulations and control measures on the slaves, which is the working class.
Yep. Well,
it's
also
a psychopathic construct.
Yeah, and so the climate change thing, which brings into the whole the carbon footprint and zero emissions.
It's all lies. I mean, it's just layers. If you want to create $1 trillion industry, that's what they're doing with climate change, and they did it, and they're doing it again with the Cerveza bug. You have to come up with a bunch of false causes and a bunch of lies, and then you have to hurry up and layer it 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 and throw as many layers as you possibly can, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 miles high, like a really big, thick slice of lasagna. And then that way, it's kind of like you tell a lie once, and it's simply just a lie. But if you tell that same lie 1,000 times, it then becomes truth. It's a psychological fact.
Really?
Absolutely. The audience will believe anything. We talked the last time about John B. Watson back in 1920 when he was doing his human experiments in behaviorism. for Johns Hopkins. They learned a lot from a lot of people a long time ago, and they use it to their advantage to keep themselves relevant and existent. Power desires more and more power to exist. If not, it just simply dissolves and something else comes along and just gobbles it up or takes over.
Well, and I have to give the cat some food. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, listen, I'm just babbling on here, really.
But you're talking about important things, so it's not babbling at all. I mean,
And so, yeah, that's what we're seeing. It's just everything is on schedule.
I was saying something just a minute ago. I was trying to remember where I had heard. Oh yeah. Do you? No, Raina. Oh my gosh, she wants to eat. She can't eat this much. No, baby, you have to wait, sweetheart. You can't.
Yeah, I can't quite hear exactly what you're saying, Malibu.
Give me 1 second. 1 sec. 1 sec. It's because of the Raina is haunting me for food right now. Just like, Raina. Okay, now I'm done with that. It's just they're very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of the times everybody's thinking, well, it's Klaus, it's Klaus, it's Klaus, it's Klaus. But the reality is that there's, Hilda, again, was one of the first, if not the first, to actually found it back before it was called the World Economic Forum. But it's no coincidence that these royal families are all around him like seagulls.
Yep.
One outranks the other. And they're all on the same team. They're all implementing all this stuff. I mean, this is the same old story.
So do you think that these people like a Klaus Schwab is working for the royalty of the world, or he is part of that, or he's above that they work
Well, the
for
construct simply shows that, again, it's the royal families that are fed up with a certain way of life, perhaps that the working class is living. They're seeing, and they study everything. They've got the technologies now that they want and they desire. We're on the cusp of launching a new empire. You're seeing the pieces being put into place. They're going to label those driving gas-powered cars as people that are anti-vax. They're going to start publicly shaming them.
Yeah, because
they're going to say, well, and some natural occurrence will happen in the weather, and they'll say, well, no, it was caused by the, they'll angle it so that it'll be, making it look like the people that are driving gas-powered vehicles that caused that mudslide or something. You know what I'm saying? It's
right, but no, with the 0 point emission thing, what they're going to do is they're going to say in the next couple of years, you have to put your car to their standards, which costs you $50,000 or something, whatever they want to say. Or you have to purchase the type of car that they say that you can have, which is $75,000, and you're going to have to go on a fucking bus or a bicycle.
The bottom line, Malibu, is that it does not matter, because there's no end in sight, because once they achieve one certain goal, then it's never simply enough for them. Then they're going to clamp down even more, and they're going to invent more lies and more scenarios. And they gather all these teams and commissions and boards together so that they can invent whatever it is to sell the audience. It's just a bunch of lies.
I have to run to the bathroom. Can you wait 1 second? I swear I'm going to be 1 minute, unless you need to go. But I find this fascinating, and I think I told you before, the way you are so knowledgeable about this stuff, and you're very good at articulating it, and I'm really grateful to have you here talking about it, because listening to you, well, I don't know, listening to you made things clearer for me, because the way you deliver it. So I'm really happy you're doing this. This is really valuable. I believe it's very valuable.
Well, I appreciate that.
Before you go, can I just run to the bathroom to the loo, it's going to take 1 minute, I swear, because then I just want to ask you a couple questions before, if you have to go, just a couple things that
Well,
are
listen, I mean, just don't forget to flush. I mean, you have to go right now. You're either going to pee or poo or both. I mean, just get out
I'm
and do
not
what you have to
doing.
do.
If I pee, I'll
I'll
hold
be
it.
here.
I hold it so long, I start getting pain in my
No,
back.
that's no good for you.
You
That's
know,
no good for you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially if, when you get older and stuff like that, I mean, you're starting to lose sphincter control anyway. So please get
I'm
out
not
of here.
losing sphincter control.
What's that?
Somebody asked, a sphincter? No, there's a loss of somebody. I was talking to somebody, I don't know if it was a doctor. Somebody was asking me about incom. I'm not, it's not funny because this happens to people. It's not their fault.
Yeah,
But
laughing. I mean, listen, if you have no sphincter control, laughing is not your it's not your best friend right now.
somebody, I don't know if it was a doctor, and I go, no, I have trouble getting it out. Like, it's like a weird thing. And I've had tests upon tests, and they cannot figure out what's wrong with me. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah, it's called constipation.
No, it's Gee Whiz. It's the naval document from 1972 that tells you about Gee Whiz, which is a weapon, and what it does to the human body. And
Cheese whiz.
I have many of the Cheese Whiz. I have many of the symptoms. We can't talk about the Cheese Whiz. It's the number after 4 and the letter after F.
Well, listen, Cheese Whiz and
Let's talk about
celery.
Cheese Whiz.
Cheese Whiz and celery, I mean, to some people is blasphemy, but to me, I mean, I was raised on Cheese Whiz and celery.
No.
I mean, I consider it health food.
I could do peanut butter on celery, but cheese, I don't know. I probably had Cheese Whiz in my life, but
listen, I've been to a lot of formal dinners, like family gatherings, where you have all these cheese platters, you have all these cold meat platters, you have all these other fine platters of whatever. I mean, they're huge, but I mean, you're always olives, you name it, gherkins,
olives,
Vienna sausage, whatever. But
olives.
Yeah, I mentioned olives.
Oh, you did? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, and I mean, certainly is an automatic is the celery with Cheese Whiz. I mean, you have your deviled eggs.
Not at my house. We didn't have Cheese Whiz. My dad would not let us have that. Tonight, I bought a brie. It's goat cheese. Okay, I'm super psyched about this brie I have. I was raised. Okay, so you're talking about my traditional approach to hospitality, really, which I credit both my parents, but my mother mostly, my mother was heavily schooled with etiquette, and like when we were little, we were being taught about, this spoon, and you have 2 spoons, and where the spoons go, and 2 forks, and all this stuff, and where it goes, the wine glass, and they always wanted us to be cultured, but they loved good wine, they loved great cheese, so but no cheese was allowed. But this goat cheese brie, I think this is going to be really good. Do you like brie cheese?
I like every cheese.
Oh, you do? I'm a big fan, and it's one thing that's really hard to quit. But anyway,
to me, what's not to like about cheese? Different cheese.
I don't know, because I'm a big fan of it, but it's actually not very good for us. But I heard.
But I told you, I think I told you the story about Mini Baby Bells.
No, but I used to love the Mini Baby Bell.
But I didn't. I only found out recently that you actually had to take the red part off, and I didn't know that. And so I was eating it. I remember everybody was eating it. I thought, what the hell is this? So I took it and I started eating it. I thought, this is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Right. And then I never would have thought. And the problem with me is I never thought that you'd have to unwrap a food twice, because there's it's like a thin red plastic thing. And then there's the red wax thing. But then there was this weird looking thing that was built into it that you were supposed to grab like a tab and then open it up like a Pac-Man. right? And then it pops out, and then you eat that. But I didn't realize that up until recently. Till this little, I started seeing this kid. There's this kid, and he had one. I thought I just kind of, my eyes narrowed, and I had this grin on my face, and I was nodding like up and down, like, oh yeah, he's gonna find out the hard way, like I did. And then all of a sudden he took that, and then he opened it, and then it was just like the rays of light of Heavenly Father God raining down onto my soul and my spirit, and it was just like, and then the sound of the heavens opened up, and it was just like, and then I went up to that kid, total stranger, really. He said, "What did you just do?" And he was confused, right? And so he closed it, and I asked him, I said, "How did you do that?" And he was looking at me like I'm the idiot. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't looking at him like an idiot. I was just happy to be there, but it was just like, do that again. And then I went out and I bought myself a whole new pack, and it just changed my whole life.
I didn't know you were this funny. That's pretty hilarious. Did they have the mini Baby Bells? We had the Baby Bell, but the Baby Bell was not the mini Baby Bell. Did we have?
No,
they
this
have
is
the
the mini.
when we were? I don't even know how old you are, but I feel like they didn't have the little like individual ones came later.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of a hazy recollection. Didn't the Baby Bell? It's not like a high quality cheese, really, is it?
Well, I mean, it's
pretty good.
They're not selling for cheap nowadays.
Oh well, nothing is, but
nothing is cheap, right? Right.
I'm not remembering it as like being extremely.
It was not a thing. I mean, so much, when you were.
We liked it. No, we ate a lot of it as kids. We dug it, especially I think because the whole the cow thing, the baby thing. I think it really appeals to kids. I think
when I was a kid, the cheeses that were more there, like as far as like your lunches and stuff or snacks, were those little aluminum foil triangles.
Yes. What were those called?
They were like shaped like little miniature thick pizza slices that were they were wrapped like space aluminum, and they would have this little.
It's like this very
picture of a cow. There would be like a cow on it.
It had a what?
It would have a picture of like a cow, but I tell you something, it didn't taste good like the mini Baby Bells did. But it tastes more disgusting.
The cow is the baby. Isn't the cow the thing on the Baby Bell thing? The cow? No, I remember those. I know those things. It's a really soft cheese. It's not like a cream cheese, but it's not like a nice solid cheese. But we used to love that as well. We ate a lot of that as kids. I remember that. Not so much as adults, though.
So, I mean, did you pee your pants yet, or?
No, I cannot be rude. You're like talking, and you were on a roll, and that was really funny. But yeah, I gotta go.
I mean, I was telling you a true story. I mean, it wasn't really intended to be funny. I was just putting it out there.
Okay, wait. Let me run. I'll never do that.
Yeah, I mean, do what you have to do. I'll just stay here and sort of rant.
Just rant. Talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, so Malibu earlier was talking about Davos, and was it the 16th to the 20th, and I was sort of going off a little bit about how they open it up traditionally. Anyways, it's Klaus's wife, Fluffbag, Hilda, and she starts off with like the Crystal Awards, and then on the Tuesday it's really their first Fluffbag day, and so that was a very busy day. And what's happening basically in Davos, you probably already know, people, that it's climate change, number one, number two, and number three. That's flipping the bill. There's a lot of AI stuff, regulation, policy making. There's just a bunch of fluff bags that fly in, royalty, royal families. There's actually a lot of top secret people that they don't announce until the very last second, literally. And they occupy. There's at least 20, 25, I think, spots that we're not revealing names up until the last second. They call them special addresses.
What did I miss? I feel like I missed something.
What's that? No, I don't think so.
What were you
I was
talking
just-
about? It sounded interesting.
Yeah, no, I was just talking a little bit about the meetings that are happening this week. So
Oh God, that stuff with that. Hey, do you think that was really Klaus and the Bride of Frankenstein, the white thing on the nude beach? Is that a Photoshop? I think somebody said that may have been Photoshop.
I don't know. I think on one of my episodes from 2020, I've got that same photo. I don't know. I'm guessing it's the same one.
Yeah, he's on like a. It's not a nude beach though.
He's got it's like a fedora on, and he's got like a piece of gum at the end of his wiener. Is it that one? Because that's the one that I'm using in one of my episodes of my documentary.
I didn't see that one, thank God. Where is this documentary going to be viewed?
Oh, I have no idea. I passed a lot of these episodes over to T.
He's not
At least a year and a half ago now.
Where is that? Nobody can watch it?
Well, I mean, I've sent them pretty much all of them, I believe. But I mean, there's.
Is it stuff you can air on YouTube that won't get blocked, or is it?
Oh, I mean, you can. You cannot put this stuff up on their tube because this goes. I mean, this hits straight to the heart. You know what I'm saying? This is.
Oh, so you can't put it out on their tube.
Oh gosh, no.
What? Okay, so where is there a platform that you think it is safe? Or
I'm not sure. I mean, it's possible. For me, it's just literally a comprehensive report as to what really happened, what really is going on, or should I say, what isn't really going on. But the audience is told that something is going on, but never really happened. So there's a lot of things that didn't really go on, and that's all part. I mean, that's the whole behaviorism of holding a system-wide global coup. It's better to achieve all this control as long as it's in a simulation. If something like this really happened, you wouldn't really see it like this happening in real life. But a simulation offers you to slow it down, to speed it up, to have it a complete stop so that you can have a BLM protest that'll occupy that time and space for a month. And then all of a sudden you can start it all up again. Simulation is what we're seeing more and more and more. And it's not just for the health sector. I mean, there's all sectors now. They're learning that simulation will get you what you want if you need a condensed time to achieve regulation, policy making, whatever it is. I mean, it's such a flexible way to get all your desired outcomes and achieve all your goals. Simulation is the answer. And you have the audience, which is the general public, the working class, that are drugged up and pumped up full of, transmitted signals that they are, they've been taken for a ride for many, many years and beyond. So to them, they don't even know what reality is anymore. And they're so conditioned to hyperrealism that you can just tell them anything and they'll just believe it. And so simulation, it sets up perfectly.
Can you hear
And
me?
this is how they do it. You wouldn't dare do this, if it was actual real life. You wouldn't be able to, you would have to wait thousands of years. People, everything's coming together coincidentally all in this same decade. I mean, only simulation has that potential and that possibility to occur. And you're going to get better results anyways. Because you have everything already in a position. You're just waiting to broadcast it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we have this already ready. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Simulation is what this is all about. And this is how you do it.
It's crazy. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I hope I'm here.
Lay on the floor because my neck really started to hurt. I didn't know if you could hear me from there. Hold on, something's going on with the computer. It's in the dark. One sec. So, with all this knowledge that you have, what do you feel people can do, or what you would advise or suggest to prepare for what's coming, or what kind of activism perhaps could they participate in that would get their asses shot off, or do we need to start getting willing to get our asses shot off, because give me liberty or give me death. I mean, if you don't have liberty, there's no life worth living. So when are we, what's going on? What do you, I don't know, there's kind of lots of parts to that question, but why do you think that the masses are so immobilized?
Like sheep?
Well, I don't think it's just sheep. You have people, you call them sheep. I would call them brainwashed. So you
Yeah,
do have
because I
those.
mean, everybody, whether you're sheep or you're more woken or you're somewhere in the middle or whatever it is that you actually are, I mean, you're still trying to make ends meet. I mean, the machine is still running, the evil machine that we turn our heads to every day, and then we have to report to. And we're part of the working class, so we get beat up, eaten up, spit out, chewed out, whatever. I mean, it's that grind, that 9 to 5 grind. I mean, people have to pay their bills, and so
Yeah.
they're not so much. And then a lot of them will say, "Hey, listen, I realize, I also see the world unfairly. I also understand that we're just merely, like a small part of, or expendable to the ruling class, but fill in the blank, right?
Right.
But, and everybody's got their fill in the blank to justify all this madness and stupidity that, we're all conditioned to. And when you were born and when I was born, we were just, we inherited this construct. We weren't the first generation to build it. Whoever it is that you see on the street inherited this shit.
Mhm.
When you were born, in all the years up until where we are right now, it was inherited. It was already there. And so there's a conditioning process that takes place, and you can argue it's pretty quick, but it's ever ongoing. It doesn't help things. And so people sometimes can be really consumed and taken and eaten up real quick, right? And they'll never know the difference. They'll never know the wiser. They'll never look outside the parameters that they were given to be boxed in, because the options that they know and they feel is actually theirs is not theirs at all. It was given to them. Their thoughts and beliefs just so happen to be the same as MSM's. That's impossible. But that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, okay, but you have brainwashed people, and so they can't even understand reality.
Yeah, they're doing their job. I mean, under this contract, that's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be listening to MSM.
Right,
according
they do.
to
And
the plan,
they've been
they're
taking
supposed
their
to be getting their instructions, their thoughts, and their beliefs from a centralized source. And so when they see somebody like yourself saying something opposite, well, they look at you like, oh my God, like, I'm going to go after her and I'll start attacking her because she's a threat to the devil, right? And the devil gives me my instructions. And so if anybody opposes the devil, then I'll go after them. And so that's what you're seeing a lot of times. You're seeing a lot of these people attacking people that because they have a mind of their own and they're thinking for themselves. But it's not really them. They're no longer in control of their own mind and body. They're doing the work of the devil. So they're going after you.
Well, yeah, that's
you have
totally
to forgive
true.
them. You have to forgive them because it's not really them. Their thoughts and beliefs are actually narratives that have been induced into them. But they think that it's actually theirs, which is false.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would cover like people like my closest friend, or was like, there's something very different about this guy, and he is vacationed, and then I just started. I haven't asked him this yet, but I'm highly confident he's going to say yes. He's probably taken a flu vacation every year for probably a decade. I would
Yeah.
venture to say. And so this is also part of the problem because we don't know, and this has been speculated upon, this technology that they claim this is the first time they've ever used it. We don't know that they weren't putting it in other things before. We don't know. We don't know shit a lot of the
You're
time.
not again, you're the bottom of the construct. You are the lowest part of the food chain. We all are. Not just you, me, the 99%. You get that. And then, of course, we're
Yeah.
not going to know. I mean, if anything actually represented the people for real,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be at the bottom of the food chain. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? There's nothing. And these people that you're told, like these, officials or servants, public servants, that's all a myth. There is nothing that represents the working class people. Otherwise, you would not be at the very bottom of the food chain in this hierarchical construct. The trick is to sell you the illusion that, hey, you're being listened to, you're being cared for, and you're being taken care of by this, and this. And then what happens is that you see what's really going on in the world, and you just sort of condition yourself. I'm just being lied to, and just move on. I gotta get up. I gotta set my alarm. I gotta go to work tomorrow, and pay my bills, and so on and so forth. You turn your head to evil every day. That's what we all do. And I think there comes a point where a bottleneck phenomenon eventually occurs, and this is where the controllers, the ruling class, often will always make their mistakes, no matter how calculated and exact and scheduled that they are. This phenomenon has to occur anyways, just prior to a collapse. And I think, where we are right now is entering into this bottleneck. Where there's pressure that's being built. And building and building and building. Social pressure, a lot of it's manufactured economically, economic pressure, geopolitical. There's all sorts of pressure. Some of it's really manufactured and designed and calculated to, like a WWE wrestling match where it's already a predetermined conclusion. But I think there's other variables that they do not understand. And it happens with all ruling class civilizations just prior to a cataclysmic collapse. Because other civilizations, they have all these great, wonderful innovations and technologies and so on and so forth that they're releasing, and everything's going on schedule. And then until, the Roscoe phenomenon occurs. I believe we're entering into this phenomenon.
Would you call it the Roscoe phenomenon?
Well, yeah, I named it after Joe Roscoe, who
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah, neither have I, but I named this after him, and I have identified this phenomenon, and I believe it actually really occurs. And I've been doing research, and I've been doing studies, and I've been doing work on this on the side. And I had to put a name to it. And I thought, well, who better than Joe Roscoe? At the time. So I'll stick with it.
And what is it's a theory?
Yeah, it's a theory.
Are you going
It's
to
a
share
theory
it?
now.
Huh?
And it's a theory that explains or tries to explain the relation between a ruling class hierarchical construct and when you're moving through time and space as things develop, technologies and innovations occur, socio-economic movement. Also, you can include geopolitical. There's all this resources and sectors involved, and eventually, what happens is, and it comes down to just simple power. And what the fundamental law of the universe, or whatever it is that you want to call your realm, your Earth, your flat Earth, your oblique spheroid, your realm, planet, whatever it is that you call home. Again,
What about your forest field?
Yeah, the shape of the Earth says nothing to me. Okay, it says nothing to me. The important part is power itself, and what happens with power is it grows, it destroys, and it rots us to the core. And it changes us and it changes everything. I mean, you can start off with something that has a really great intention from the heart, and everything is all, all for good and everything. And then all of a sudden it builds, and it eventually builds and builds and builds until it turns mainstream. And then, things change. Power, you'll die off and somebody else will inherit it, and it'll still grow. Momentum will build in behind it. And then all of a sudden that initial good idea that you had way back when no longer resembles anything to what it once was originally. And this is just one small variable, however, in a bigger picture. But power will destroy everything it touches eventually, only to start all over again, where, the human being will see the opportunity to take something and turn it into personal gain, and then it starts all over again. So there's good and there's bad in there. I mean, it sounds kind of doom and gloom, but there's an equal balance of good and evil. I think that plays throughout the entire movement of this whole story. It has to. And that's, don't misunderstand me. This is only under a ruling class construct, which I don't believe. I mean, there's other ways, but I mean, with ruling class constructs, I believe this is the situation that will have to happen over and over again through the course of, could be tens of years, hundreds of years, thousands of years, and more.
But I don't buy that Rome collapsed in a day. I just think they regrouped. They just did something different. They didn't. I don't buy that. I think the collapse of this country's been coming for quite some time, and the most devastating part is that we, the people, can't seem to do anything about it. It's just
the problem with some of the collapses is a lot of collapses are manufactured and they're controlled. Okay, so I'm not talking necessarily about those ones, because what we see is that when those collapses occur, that the people suffer. But the problem is that you would think that everyone is supposed to suffer equally. But what we see is that the royal families, just for some reason, just so happen to get away unscratched.
right.
And then reseed and reestablish and start all over again. So that right there is a clue and a hint that this was more of a controlled situation rather than a natural bottleneck phenomenon that will take them out as well, and everyone equally. So don't confuse that with something else that I'm also speaking on.
Well, not everybody. Can you hear me okay? Because I'm laying on the floor. Can you hear me?
You're laying on the floor. Are you all right? Or
I'm just doing kind of a yoga thing right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's sitting in the chair really hurts my back. But so not everybody believes that this Atlantis existed. I tend to lean in the direction that I believe it did. But the story of that, and I don't know about ancient Lemuria, if it has a similar thing. I've never really looked much into that one, but
I can barely. I mean, you're cutting in and out, Malibu. I'm not sure because you've got like legs wrapped around your head, or I'm visual of you doing.
I was doing plow pose at one point, but I'm not anymore.
Okay.
That is an actual pose. It's not. For Penny, if you're listening, it's not what you do. It's not the pose you get into when you're being plowed. Wink, wink. That's just for some crazy lady out there.
Yeah. But just to sort of end this, was like the bottom line is that power has to grow and grow and grow and grow until it absolutely destroys everything it touches. And it usually is human beings, man nor woman, can wield it. And we change, and we then start playing the role of God. and start making decisions and doing things for large populations of people that, we will never ever meet in our lives, and vice versa. And really bad thing happen. A lot of the bad things will happen. A lot of bad things ensue. And this is, I think, just a fundamental law that's out there, and it repeats itself over the courses of a long period of time.
Right. Well, when I was on the floor and you couldn't hear me, what I was saying is some people believe and some people don't believe that this Atlantis, whether or not it existed, I lean in the direction that it did. And the story about it is that it was this very advanced civilization. They had everything. It was very like a utopian existence, I guess.
Right.
And then the power, it was corrupted. It was turned in the direction because it was corrupted by greed. And I just think it's these same insidious, gross, whatever they are, that worm their way in and they destroy everything.
Yeah, I mean, we're very, like, deception plays a massive role. I mean, and this is before we even bring money into the equation. But once you bring money or some sort of artificial stimulant that will, excite your neuroreceptors and everything else that goes with it artificially, then, and even another animal, we're highly intelligent creatures. And before you bring all this other, money or something that's fake that can make you something different, you using hyperrealism, takes on a whole new sort of approach for an animal or a species that can be highly deceptive. We rose to the very top of the food chain only to be our own worst enemy. Enough of this. I mean, the construct itself is just unhealthy. Period.
Do you think there's any hope for humanity?
Yeah, there always is. I mean, there always is. But I mean, on its current sort of path, again, if you have the working class at the very bottom of the food chain, which represents the 99%, it's just not healthy. I'm not so sure we're, over a course of it, like, what do you think you're seeing so much illness and mental illness? And I mean, a lot of people are just, the species is crying out to be saved. And I'm not talking about the fake hopium that's being put out there and pushed. This is all part of something bigger. I feel that is just on time. Everything's happening on time. You got the controllers who think they're so calculated and perfect and scheduled, and everything they're doing is on time for them as well. But I think there's other variables here that they just do not understand.
Well, I hope you're right.
But there's good and there's also equally bad. I think like,
well,
Bob
there's a lot of bad. I mean,
well, no, I think it has to be both equally. I mean, eventually, yeah, one will tip the scales more than the other, but there will be a rebalancing and so on and so forth. Like Bob Ross, from Joy of Painting. You need darkness to see the light. A lot of truth to that.
Yeah, but that's also a duality program they've been running through us for centuries. It's a duality program. They've got you to accept the fact that you can't appreciate good if you don't have bad. It's
absolutely. I mean, God brings both. He has to.
I don't know. Well, that's yeah. I'm not gonna. I just have my personal beliefs about things, and I could never really accept or wrap my head around that, honestly, and it just doesn't work for me. I don't use a punishing God. It's just not my trip. But I just, I'm not like a lot of people. I mean, the way I see things now, I feel. In fact, when we started talking about Davos, I think it was 2 nights ago, and I'm pretty sure. And I was like, there's something really off. There's something off. I could feel something in the air. There was a calmness, and it was so silent, and something was off, and I was picking up on it. and it was the opening of fucking Davos, is what it was.
Yeah, they were probably picking up on Greta Thunberg being flown in.
Oh my God, the evil though. It's so evil. And you know what they do is look, eyes wide shut, that's what they do. And
Yeah,
worse.
Davos is the
worse.
Epstein Island of
It
psychopath
is.
policymakers. It's a
Fucking pervert.
nothing good will come out of this for the working class. It'll just be more implementation of regulation, foreign policy being disguised as domestic policy by the time it's implemented in wherever nation that you're in. Doesn't matter what nation you're in. Could be Sweden, could be Australia, could be Brazil.
Okay. Where is it safe to live in the United States? I have to find a place to live. Where do you recommend?
Is this part of your 6-month plan? Is it?
For fuck's sake, I haven't narrowed in on it yet. I've got offers, but obviously I can't say. I mean, I could say because nobody knows when I'm gonna end, but my main thing is like, I want to go somewhere where it's safe. I don't want to go somewhere that floods out. I mean, look at fucking Santa Cruz, what the hell is going on? I mean, people are drowning to death. What the fuck is happening? I mean, so I have a friend in North Carolina, and he said, "Come live with me." And I'm like, I don't want to go live with. That wouldn't really work out. But North Carolina concerns me. Don't they have flooding issues too? I don't know. They have hurricanes.
Depends on where you are. I mean, you could be beside a flood zone in North Carolina. Yeah, I mean, there could be a river. I mean, you could be in a low. It could be floodplain. It depends on where you are.
Well, I would be careful not to go where the floodplain is, and plus my friend is a real estate agent. He knows all about that stuff. But it's just that we live in this world that is so, to me, so bizarre. I hope I didn't let it side. Did you need to finish what you were saying? I didn't interrupt you.
No, you didn't interrupt me at all, actually. And if you see it as bizarre, it's intended to be that way. It's being just more and more twisted. It was bizarre before, but again, you're not meant to be ruled by anybody. And they're pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and soon,
exactly.
Now you're being ruled by simple paperwork, and where nobody is being held accountable, and you're ruled that way, even though there's people behind that policy that are behind it all, and that they're pushing it, and they're faking it as domestic policy, because by the time it reaches you, it's coming across MSM to say, oh, well, starting next week, your United Nations Sustainable Development Goal climate policy, according to Paris Accord, states that you have to do this before 7, or you can't do this after 7 p.m., or you have to do this on a certain day. You can no longer do this, and they're just going to keep clamping down. It's just a bunch of barfing material and nobody can really seemingly do anything about it. It's just wrong.
Yeah, Touch Your Class was saying hello to you. I just noticed he was in the chat.
Touch Your Class, how you doing?
Thurnberg pronounce, is that turd? Barry?
Back into comments here.
I can't see.
Oh yeah, Thunberg. Yeah.
Oh, is that the pronounced correct?
Well, they did the fake arrest. They had to do a staged arrest. It was completely full. It was the most.
Where? What are you talking about?
Greta, another one of her one of these controlled oppositions.
Is she the young woman that was talking about basically gun control or something?
Well, whatever it is that the elites and the agenda wants, basically she's no different than she's an actor, an actress.
She's young though, right?
She's playing her role to bring forward attention and awareness to things that just so happen to coincidentally align with a predetermined conclusion. And that's what WWE matches are like before they start. So they arrange it no differently. So everything is a stage, and this is no different. Everything that she does is always aligned with sort of curtailing or funneling society down that same path.
Is she that young girl that was talking after the Parkland thing, or?
No,
Is she a newscaster?
No,
I don't
they
know.
do all that work for her. She's a basically she's an elite fluff bag, uh, poster child,
Yeah.
billboard, and
I know.
she will pretend that she'll be like strapping herself to a tree or something like that, and she'll be having a sign that'll say, "Oh, save climate," or "Climate
Oh
change is
God.
killing us,"
Oh God.
right? And so it just so happens to align with MSM narratives at the end of the day.
Oh, that's lovely. That's why I don't watch the news. I can't stand it.
It's literally hyperrealism, and it's really cheesy, and it's so bad. But the interesting part is that as cheesy and as obvious it is, that because of the conditioning of behaviorism, that people are still buying into all this stuff. And the cheesier that it is, the more people are conditioned to being duped by cheesy psyops. That is absolutely fascinating to me. And so you'll have the sheeple saying, see, I told you, climate change. See, I told you, climate change. See, I told you, she wasn't wearing a mask. It's just absolutely, it's just insanity.
Yeah, I'm going to recommend that people don't take your phones where
See,
you
I
go.
told you they didn't send enough money to Ukraine.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
One thing before I forget. So Zelensky's wife and Putin's wife, they look very similar. Have you seen that? Or am I wrong?
No, I mean, that's possible.
I thought that was really odd.
I mean, just listen, playing the role of enemy or pretending to play the role of enemy is nothing new on the world stage, on the global stage.
Oh, I know. It's all a load of crap.
And again, it's all to arrive at a predetermined, all to complement all this destabilization that all wealthy nations are on the menu, to put them in a state of recovery, manufactured recovery.
Right.
It is so fake.
There is no recovery from where we're going with this. I don't see how it turns around. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm not trying to be a fear pornographer. I'm just saying.
Well, if you're led under their program, then yeah, I mean, you're going to take all the speed bumps that they throw at you, right? But
how do you exist outside of their program?
Well, you have to understand how everything is constructed and built, and you see how things before it happens. You can be a lot more forgiving as to things that you're seeing happening, and you just don't buy in any of their crap because you can see clearly it's literally all a design. It's been a design for a long, long time, well before JFK, well before decades and decades and decades ago. And before all that, it's the same old trickery. They just color it differently.
Yeah, but back then,
World War II, you just keep going back.
Things weren't not like this. At least there was an ability to have some level of hope that you could create something in this world.
Yeah, don't never give that up. Never give that up, Malibu. There's always hope. One person can make a big difference because, again, the domino effect is real and it can happen for good just as much as it can be used for evil.
Yeah, how we steer that this is like the last year. Like Richard thinks there's no life after 2024. I mean, people are saying like the most bleak fucking things about what's to come. I mean, how do you I mean, you're not coming from that space, but a lot of people are saying what he's saying, and it's frightening.
Well, it can be frightening, sure, but there's always hope. Never give that up.
Well, I haven't completely given it up yet, but I'm telling you that it's not that easy to have when you see what they're doing to this country and to people that they're making homelessness illegal. They are giving police the power to eyeball assess you, and if they think you're crazy and you need to be locked up, they're going to have the power to do so. That's a big fucking problem.
Sure,
That's
because
been
again,
lots
I
of
mean, they'll
political dissidents.
power will take what it wants when it wants. It doesn't matter if it's your guns, it doesn't matter if it's your gold, your money, your bank accounts, your land, your house, your animals, your food,
Yes.
and life itself. That's what power does. It does not care. It will take what it wants when the time is right.
Well, they're going to make it illegal to have domesticated animals. I'll tell you that. That's coming. They don't want, and plus it will be so cost prohibitive to feed animals. People will not be able to keep them. But that is
Yeah, but
part
what
of
happens
the
after that,
agenda.
the generation after that, is that they'll go beyond that, and you'll be wishing that they told you didn't have animals, because the step after that is even more dire. Because again, they didn't put people in gas chambers. It didn't go right to gas chambers. There was gradual steps along the way to get there.
That's right.
It did not happen overnight. It took a lot of steps.
Do you believe that the rumors about the FEMA camps and all that stuff, the guillotines and the
No, a lot of this was a lot of you have to, like, designing psyops and designing system-wide psyops are necessary, absolutely necessary, to build up that fear inside of your brain. There's parts of your brain that need for you, the audience, to open up those gates, like your neuroreceptors, for you to be a lot more receptive to the message that's be coming through those gates. And in order to do that, your fear level has to be up. I mean, this is all human torture experimentation results and research that was done a very long time ago. The information given to the wrong people so that they can use it against the audience, so that they can keep in power, keep the status quo and the scam ongoing. Because again, when you achieve power, you will do anything, and you have to do anything to keep it. So psychology, human torture is critical.
What if you're not power hungry? Then you're not capable of those things, right?
What do you mean?
Like, not everybody desires power to
Then you don't have it.
corrupt people or abuse people and for their own benefits. Like, some people just aren't that like that at all.
That's right. And they won't have it, and they won't deal with it. And it's like the old saying from the 1983 movie War Games with Matthew Broderick. The smartest move is not to play.
Right.
And you can just go on living your life happily ever after under more of your own rules and parameters.
Yeah, but sweetie, how do
The problem with that is,
come in and tell you that you can't, your house needs $200,000 worth of improvements, or you can't live there? That's what they're bringing. They're going to tell you can't. You're not going to be able to car. You will own nothing and be happy. That's what this is about.
absolutely.
So I don't.
That's part of it.
Look, it's too late now for me to start like drilling you about solutions. It's not going to happen. So it's just, I'm not going to panic out about it, but I can tell you, I see very clearly what's going on, and you're going to have jails and prisons that they're letting fucking criminals out of because of the disease, but they're going to be locking up homeless people because it's illegal to be fucking homeless. I mean, this is what's going on, and people don't give a rat's ass generally. They just don't give a fuck about anyone but themselves, and I cannot understand that shit. I just don't get it.
Right, what we see
I don't
is
come
also
from my family. None of my family is that way.
right. So what
I just
happens
don't come
is,
from people like that.
once populations start losing their health, because once they achieved a certain amount of health, like, the baby boomers, Gen X, whatever you want to label these, I'm not big on that myself, but groups of generations who are used to and tuned to a certain lifestyle and health, all these great health defense mechanisms that first world nations so proudly and responsibly put into place to protect their peoples, citizens, whatever you want to call them, gets taken away. And then all of a sudden there's a downturn and a slide that is not a small sort of slide, but a steady ongoing slide for weeks, months, and years. Whether it's your prime rates, your economy, food, and all of a sudden you have service disruptions, and now your shelves begin to become empty. You're now becoming a little bit more older. You can't, heat the house if you're living in an area that requires heat. You're not getting the same quality food choices out there as well. Your recreational activity is no longer the same. Your mental health state is not what it once was. What we start seeing is in these sort of conditions is disease now starting to enter into the theater of things naturally on its own. The controllers and the designers, they know this. And so what happens, then all of a sudden you can have a bunch more excuses to say, well, these people are dying, but, we're trying our best to get, this and this and this and this and this. But is it really all an accident? Was it like a domino effect, or what they'll say is a perfect storm of things that just, we couldn't save the ship, and so, and then later on what they'll have is the same people that caused everything making it look like, oh, here we are still, we're on scratch, we're royal families and elites and affiliates, but we'll give a real quick speech on behalf of all those who, after all the death and destruction occurs, and then give them a round of golf clap applause for 13 seconds, and then we'll move on to the next show. That's what we're seeing.
It's fucking bizarro. Is that your phone?
Hold on, this phone is not clean here, so I got to take this.
Okay. I don't know if he's coming back or not. But Touch of Class, nice to see you. And it's been a really interesting discussion with Yo Laserbeam. It always is.
Hey, Malibu, listen, I got to split. I got to go. You there? Hey, A Touch of Class. Did Malibu hit the bathroom again, or is she? Can anybody hear me here?
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, it's moving now. Okay. Oh, I see it. Hello. Sorry. Sorry about that. I thought the thing was charged. I thought the computer was charged. And then I went outside and then it anyway, it died. That's what happened. And I guess he got a phone call, so he had to go. But interesting conversation. Always the guy's got so much information. Yeah, he does. He can explain the whole thing like nobody else, really. Just in a way that, yeah, it's important to hear what he has to say. So anyway, we're here at the end now. So I hope, we really didn't have a lot of people listening, but we had like 4 or 5 the whole time, I think. That's what I want to bring you. That's what I want to do. I want to be with people like that, talking about shit that's important. I don't give a flying F about this other shit. It's what you don't get. And you will not succeed. And you're not succeeding. So like that, the song says, you're not gonna stop me. That's what she says in that song, The Fighter by Christina Aguilera. You won't stop me. I am a fighter. I ain't gonna give up. I've had enough. So, what I recommend is go look in the fucking mirror and ask yourself if you're happy with the legacy you're leaving for your children or just for the world in general. Do you really think you'll exit this realm and it was a job well done? Well, for the devil, maybe. And you can, you like to roll the dice on your odds, I guess, of getting away with this shit, or that you won't be ultimately punished for your actions. I believe you will be. As I said, this guy earlier and the bullshit with Kickstand and Rough come boo boo witchy cunt face. Excuse me, it's gonna happen once in a while. I will drop a C bomb on you. Don't like profanity. This wouldn't be a channel for you because I do like profanity here and there. I mean, I'm not using it as much as I used to, but I still think it serves a purpose. So, um, if I have to go in under another account and just be with the people I want to be with, that's what I'll do. So, like I said, you're not going to stop me, but you really should work on stopping yourself. That's what you need to work on. Stop your fucking self and your lies about people. People slitting people's throats, stalking children, pedophilia, all the fucking shit you throw at people. It's disgusting. Just go look at yourself in the mirror. Psychopaths, they don't see themselves like Andrea, drink a, what did you say, antifreeze milkshake? No, that's okay. You can have my serving, okay? But I don't wish that on people. You're a sicko. The fuck would ever say such a thing? Straight up evil. There's just no way around it. I would never tell these people to go die. I would never tell them. I wouldn't say any of those things. It's just, you just don't say shit like that. If you are a decent human being, it's just, you don't say shit like that. You don't call people ugly old hags and slags and the endless barrage of bullshit that you people say about other people. It's just, you're vile. You're just vile. That's it. You're fucking done. Is there any hope for you? Doubtful. You're a psychopath. Psychopaths don't grow conscience. You are a person without conscience. You have no feeling for anybody but yourself. That's what it all comes down to. So go fuck yourself. Okay? Because no, it's not happening. I don't care. Oh, you're such, well, like I said, keep proving that you are the one. You're still the one. And thank you for not realizing how stupid you are. I don't really like calling people stupid either, but people that think they soar above everyone else with their brain power when they're just psychopaths. You use your intelligence for shit, it becomes shit. Okay? Your intelligence is shit. It ain't worth shit because you use it for shit. What's your outcome? Shit. That's what you get. You will get the shit that you put on everybody else. Eventually, it will come down on your own fucking head. That's right. I'm pretty confident of that. So, with that, good night. Have a pleasant tomorrow. And I've had a long day on here today. A lot more time. When I came in, I was just making fun of something. I thought it was funny. But then I had the pleasure of Yo coming up to talk, which was fantastic. And so, thank you to the right God, and I'm going to keep doing the right thing, which is be a good human being. Even though human is not what we're supposed to be called, I guess. But in any case, that's what I'm going to do. And I have no control over what you do. You're going to do what you do, and you will eventually get what you deserve when you harm people in the way that you do. Okay? Let me just see what, like I said, I have any glasses, and I don't even know what they are. Let me just get my glasses, the rest of that, and then I'm going to see it. I don't know what happened. The glasses are constantly going this. Okay. Oh my God, now we have 7 people watching. Thank you. Oh, okay. He came back in. Wait. Mine and Richard thinking alike. They all accept man's law, not natural law. Nothing new under the sun. Me? Oh God, the connection seems to be weird. Wait, I know what it is. The phone has to be like up high. and it wasn't. So that should help. Okay. Didn't know you here that long. Oh wait, I missed this one. You too, and I was gonna speed watch, but 3 hours. God, didn't know you're here that long. I didn't know either. She was here. She was talking and just left. I'm not sure. I got kicked out. It died. Hey Melba, sorry I have to go. It was awesome being able to talk to you. You too. Take care, touch of class. Hopefully the show will go on and you can go up. He doesn't like to come up. Okay, bro, you too. I think she may be rebooting. That's what happened. Oh. Watch that vid when you're done. Okay, wait, let me pull it up so that I have it. Let me shut this down. I haven't eaten all day. No appetite. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Not my worst, quote unquote, enemy. Thank you, KW, for the compliment. Watch which video? Is this did you drop 2 links? Okay, I've got the first link. Are there 2 links? Restoring our republic. Okay. Did you put another link? Oh, my stomach is so bad right now. Oh, it is the same link. Okay, great. Great. Have a good night, Boo. Better get my ass to bed. Love you. You too. Love you too. I have to go lie down. My vape pen died like oh, I had some that wait a minute. I was just doing that. I didn't even have to okay. I'm like, ah. Okay, guys. So that's gonna do it. My hope would be that I'm not gonna be on here tomorrow. So I have to start taking days off. At least like not be on every day. I don't want to be on here every day. I just don't want to lose my life online. I spend all that's what this woman said. I've spent all my time online crying victim. Kiss my ass, okay? Bullshit. Um, so anyway, I may not be live here, but I'll probably to my people that I hang with, I'll probably wherever you are, I'll find you tomorrow. So yeah, or I actually ideally would not be on at all. I don't want to be on here every day, and I really want to wean myself away from being on a device all the time. I don't want to do it. I don't like how it makes me feel. I feel it's toxic. I don't like it. Thank you. Rest good for the brain. Absolutely. Yeah. I need some rest. Oh, God, I haven't eaten. What am I going to do? Okay. I got to go figure it out. So, anyway, thanks to everyone that came. Um, apologies to anyone who I may have offended by laughing at you being a king baby, having a king baby fit. I'm sure you're going to make a video about me next. Well, I guess you're in good company. You yourself said I should be left alone, but you support people that won't stop suicide telling me. So, with all of your conversations about other people and whom they're supporting, why don't you take a look around yourself and who you support? Okay? Chew on that. Don't choke on it, okay? And good night, everybody. See you later. Take good care and be kind to yourself and others. Good night.